Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bellevue Bruins Sports Network, coming to you live from Don Roddy Field in Bellevue, Nebraska. We bring you the final game of the second day of action in the 2021 NAIA Baseball National Championship opening round at the Bellevue Bracket. This final game of the day, a loser's bracket matchup between the top two seeds in this five-team pool, as the number one seeded Science and Arts of Oklahoma take on Mid-America Nazarene, a battle between the Drovers and the Pioneers. Mick Krupski back to do the play-by-play. Josh Sluter joining me to do the color commentary. Josh, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. I'm happy to be here.
So we'll have two viewpoints of today's action in this one. So glad to have Josh here. He's a former resident of Iowa, former resident of South Dakota, former resident of California.
Yeah, a little bit of everywhere.
So adding on an extra set of eyes, doing the color commentary for today's action. Coming into this one, the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma, they'll be the visiting team. The Drovers, the number one seed, currently 34-11 on the season after losing their opening round matchup against the host team, Bellevue University, 4-2 last night. For Mid-America Nazarene, they dropped their opening game but came back in the loser's bracket to defeat St. Xavier University in the matchup earlier today to earn the right to get here. Mid-American, the number two seeded team, 40-15 overall from the Heart of America Athletic Association. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for both teams. First of all, the visiting Science and Arts of Oklahoma Drovers. Leading off and playing center field, number 2, Ian Lauriano. Batting second and playing right field, number 21, Christian LeBoy. Batting third and catching, number 24, Joey Pena. The cleanup hitter for the Drovers, the designated hitter, number 16, Jake Womack. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 33, Bailey Holbrook. Batting sixth and playing shortstop, number 9, Brock Henderson. Batting seventh and playing left field, number 1, Brandon Shumway. Batting eighth and playing third base, number 5, Brennan Brister. And batting ninth and playing second base, number 10, Isaac Robb. On the mound this evening for the Drovers, number 22, Ricardo Velez. Time now to look at the starting lineup for the home team in this contest, the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. Leading it off and playing third base, number 24, Randy Fernandez. Batting second and playing first base, number 2, Adam Relahan. Batting third, the catcher, number 23, Joshua Sandoval. The cleanup hitter for the Pioneers, the center fielder, number 11, Dwante Freeman. Batting fifth and playing the designated hitter role, number 15, Ryan Leo. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 8, Josh Torrance. Batting seventh, the left fielder, number 19, Jacob Jenkins. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 20, Kyle Franklin. And batting ninth, the shortstop, number 7, Austin Healey. On the mound for Mid-American Nazarene, Tommy Castro, number 27. So the four-man umpiring crew getting ready to get the game underway in just a few moments. Josh, what do you look for maybe as some early keys in this matchup between two teams with one loss in the tournament?
You know, both sides of these teams are they're very well stacked. I mean, they showed up very well in their first couple games, 2 games for Mid-American and the game against Bellevue University last night for University of Science and Art. And honestly, you're looking at Mid-American, they are just a well-rounded team. They are both of these teams are ranked nationally in the NAIA coaches polls. Number 9 overall for University of Science and Art, and then 21 overall for Mid-American Nazarene. These are just some top-tier teams that are meeting today, and like you said, they're in the loser's bracket because of some tough games right off the bat, but they did not go down without a fight. And so, you know, you look at Mid-American, you got, you know, number 2 overall in doubles, number 3 in batting average, and then you got the same look over on the other side with they got a good pitching team from Science and Art with they're holding their opponents to the second lowest ranked batting average on the season. And so you got a good offensive team, Mid-American Nazarene, against a very good pitching team in Science and Art. And I think it'll be a good matchup there, especially.
As you talked about that, the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers take the field as we get ready for this third game of the day to see which team's season will come to an end and which team stays alive to play another day. As the Pioneers take the field, let's set the defense. Across the infield, Adam Relahan is at first base. The second baseman is Kyle Franklin. The shortstop, Austin Healey. and the third baseman is Randy Fernandez. Across the outfield, Jacob Jenkins is in left. The center fielder is Dwante Freeman, and the right fielder is Josh Torrance. The battery for the Pioneers behind the plate, Joshua and Sandoval, and on the mound, Tommy Castro. You see Castro, the right-handed pitcher, getting his warm-up tosses. And let's find out a little bit more about Tommy Castro. A 5-win and 2-loss record on the season, a 4.06 earned run average for Castro. He's thrown 57 2/3 innings coming into this one. He has struck out 46 and walked 17. Opposing batters are hitting .263 on the year against Tommy Castro. The sun, which has been absent the last couple of days, has peeked through the clouds as it heads toward the western horizon. We have about an hour or two of sunshine. Should the clouds stay away, you can still see a mostly overcast day. Temperature about 70 degrees, just a light breeze blowing out from home plate to center field.
Yeah, it's really just drying off after the last, yesterday's games were all moved because of the rain, just more of an artificial turf field, and then really just set up a great, beautiful day for us today. And now, as you said, the afternoon game will get a little bit of sun, at least for a little while, just enough cloud coverage to keep it from covering up our vision too much.
All right, thanks again for joining us as we get set for the first pitch. Mick Krupski here, Josh Sluter doing the color, Chad Jenkins, the producer behind the scenes. The first pitch from Tommy Castro, a fastball up and away. Ian Lauriano leading it off for the Drovers of the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. Castro working from the stretch. Here's the windup and the pitch. Fouled out of play left side. The count goes to 1-1 on Ian Lauriano. For those of you who were with us in the earlier games of this tournament, you know we like to play along with you at home listening in. We invite you to send along a text message to us. We'll give you that number after this pitch. Same one if you have it saved from before. That's fouled back coming right our way. Stop by the screen, now 1-2. The text message number is 402-515-7654. Looks like we got a couple people in the queue already, so you guys learn quickly. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Loriano. Hit hard, a one-hopper to second base. A nice spear by the second baseman, Kyle Franklin, for the first out of the inning on the 4-3 play.
Mick, I'm just impressed. You rattled that phone number off right away. You didn't even have it on your notes. You're just ready for this.
There you go. I've had that number for I don't know how many years now, so here's the replay of the action. Hard hit ball, line drive, one hopper. Franklin making the play on the short hop. That's one of those plays you either catch it or it's a base hit out into right field. Franklin up to the task on that one. Next batter, the right fielder, Christian LeBoy. And no pitch declared on that. As Tommy Castro wants to do a little groundskeeping with his cleat up against the front of the pitcher's rubber. Now here's the first pitch to LeBoy. Chop foul over near the third base dugout. That's where the Drover squad is located. That's where the Pioneer dugout is. 0-1 the count. Swing and a miss. Looked like a cutter from Tommy Castro. A little movement on that fastball. LeBoy, the leading hitter for Science and Arts. He comes into this one at .403 on the season. Also the leading RBI guy with 49 runs batted in on the season. Hitting out of that two-hole today. 0-2 pitch. A little chopper up the middle. Franklin can't get there. It's through for the first base hit of this game. 1 on, 1 out for the Drovers. Green and gold, the school colors for Science and Arts of Oklahoma. Mid-American Nazarene with the red jerseys. They also have navy blue as their school colors as the trim. The next batter, Joey Pena.
Yeah, and Joey's been a big part of this defense. Obviously, he's up to bat right now, but he's been a big big player for these guys on the defensive side of the catching position. He's actually number 2 in the NAIA at this level for most putouts in the game. So he has been a big producer on the defensive side, and let's see if he can pull it off on the offense.
Swings and misses on that first pitch from Castro. A little breaking action on that delivery. That one's a hard fastball, chopped back to the screen. Now 0-2 the count on the Drover catcher. USAO, or Science and Arts as they now like to be known as, the number 1 seed, but they lost a tough game yesterday, 4-T to the Bellevue Bruins. Bellevue pitcher Corey Jackson, the complete game victory. The first loss of the season for Colton Williams for the Drovers. That game is put behind them. They now need to look forward from here if they're going to try to get to the championship final tomorrow. That pitch bounced. Nice block by the catcher, Joshua Sandoval. We've seen some outstanding catching in the couple of days of this tournament.
Yeah, and as you mentioned yesterday, the pitching was phenomenal. They had 3 straight guys, Science and Art, that had been undefeated on the season going into yesterday's game, lead in that pitching game. So that was impressive work by them.
A combined 20-0 as that one's hit on the line to center field by Pena. The base runner, LeBoy, had to wait to see if it cleared over the head of the second baseman, Franklin. So the Drovers, with a couple of base runners on, still just 1 away. Back-to-back base hits by the 2- and 3-hole hitter. As stepping up now, the designated hitter, Jake Womack. Womack had 2 RBIs. The only 2 RBIs for the Drovers in yesterday's loss. That coming late in the 8th inning. So the Drovers trying to make more contact today than they did yesterday. They went down swinging 16 times on the game. Swinging or called third strikes. There's a called strike number 1 on Womack.
Yeah, the Drovers have a number of guys batting over 300 on the season. Yesterday, it just was not their night as they ended up falling. So Womack, who's batting 367 on the year, is hoping to be able to up those numbers so far for the tournament.
0-1 the count as Castro back to work. Now with 2 base runners on. Swing and a miss on that pitch on the inside half of the plate. Pioneers hoping to turn a double play to get out of this one. Drovers trying to get on the board first. We saw the Bellevue Bruins get on the board first in the last game. They scored 6 runs in the first 3 innings, never trailing in a 7-3 victory over Concordia University of Nebraska. So Bellevue in the enviable spot, 3-0 in this tournament. So they are in tomorrow's 2:30 championship game. The other 3 teams remaining have to battle each other to see who takes on the Bruins. Bellevue, the number 4 seed in this tournament. A battle between the 1 and 2 seeds, each of them with 1 loss already. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and missed for the strikeout for the second out of the inning. Again, a nice job by Sandoval to keep that in front of him. So it'll be up to first baseman Bailey Holbrook if the Drovers get on the board in this first inning.
And as you mentioned, Mick, the final 3 teams are battling out for Bellevue, but whoever wins this game gets to go on and face off against Concordia University tomorrow morning early, and the loser will be going home from the tournament.
Holbrook, another one of those above 300 batters. 303 is his average. Swings and misses. Castro doing a nice job of mixing his speeds and spots on his deliveries in the top of the first inning. 2 on, now 2 out for the team from Chickasha, Oklahoma. I like saying Chickasha. Yeah, feels good. Fun name to say.
It's a good thing you said it first. I would have mispronounced it.
Well, I learned the hard way. They were in the tournament a couple of years ago when Bellevue hosted, and I kept saying Chickasha, and that's going to be nope, it hits the base runner, not the fielder, so it's an interference play. It hit Joey Pena running to second base, so it'll be considered a base hit for Holbrook. But then running into the ball by Pena, give it the closest player, we'll say the second baseman, a 4 unassisted on the play. So a little score peeking. Let's watch it again. Coming off the bat. And there you see the base run. The ball glances off the side of his body. He's got to give way. So it hits him. That's an interference play. And the inning comes to an end. No runs on 3 hits. The one by LeBoy, the one by Pena, and then the one by Holbrook. Not the way you usually want to get a hit. No runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left on base. After a half, the Drovers nothing, and the Pioneers coming to bat.
Yeah, you may not want to get a hit that way, but the second baseman was about to complain about the free assist for that.
That leads to a trivia question. How many hits can you give up in a 9-inning game and still throw a shutout? Again, the wheels are spinning as people think about that. All right, it involves that last situation. Okay, let's see. The first 3 batters get up and get base hits to load the bases. The next batter gets up, hits an interference play. That's 4 hits. The next batter gets up, hits an interference play. That's 5 hits. The next batter gets up, hits an interference play. That's 6 hits an inning. 6 times 9 is 54. You can actually give up 54 hits and still throw a shutout. The odds of that are even greater than winning on Powerball. Let's set the Drover defense for you as we head to the bottom of the first inning across the infield. Bailey Holbrook is at first. Isaac Robb at second. His shortstop is Brock Henderson, and Brennan Brister at third. Across the outfield, the left fielder is Brandon Shumway, Ian Lauriano in center, and Christian Naboy in right. The battery for the Drovers behind the plate, Joey Pena. And on the mound, Ricardo Velez. Another battle of right-handers today. Velez, another one of the strong pitchers from the Drover staff. He's 8 wins and 2 losses on the year, a 1.90 earned run average. He's thrown 75 2/3 innings on the season, struck out 124 in those 75 innings. So some good stuff from the right arm of Ricardo Velez. Opposing batters only hitting 152 on the season.
And that's just one of the areas where he's either leading or very close to leading across the NAIA. As you said, he is second in opponent's batting average, and then he's also second when hits allowed per 9 innings with only 4.52. So he has been a dominant force from the mound this season for Science and Art.
Leading off the bottom of the first inning for Mid-American Nazarene, the third baseman, Randy Fernandez. Called strike 1 on the first offering from Ricardo Velez. Fernandez leading off for the first time in this tournament. Usually Josh Torrance has done that job, but he's mired in a slump, so a little change in the batting order for head coach Ryan Thompson. 1-1 now the count. Fernandez hitting .362 coming into today's action. Both these teams can score some runs. Mid-American Nazarene averaging just under 10 runs per game, 9.7 to be exact. 2-1 now the count. The Pioneers defeating St. Xavier University in the opening game today to advance in the losers bracket to this matchup against the Drovers. Fastball with a lot of pop, 2-2 on the swing and a miss.
Yeah, as you mentioned, these are both some very high-scoring teams. 9.7 for Mid-American and then 8.2 runs per game for University Science and Art. But then their pitching is they're doing very well in that regard as well. Mid-American averaging less than 5 runs a game allowed, and then Science and Art averaging just over 3 runs a game. So they're both almost double, scoring almost double the runs that they're allowing their opponents on the season.
Facing a couple of quality starters on both squads today, so we probably won't see a high-scoring game, but you never know. It's baseball. Anything could happen. Here's a full count pitch. Chopper on the ground to the right side, moving over to make the play. The second baseman, Isaac Robb, with the assist over to first base, 4-3 for the first out of the bottom of the first inning. Next to bat for Mid-American Nazarene, Adam Relahan. Relahan was one of the 2 stars of the game in the first game for the Pioneers. Relahan had 2 home runs, one a 2 RBI, one a solo. He and Joshua Sandoval both went deep in that Game 1 victory over St. Xavier. A total of 4 RBIs on Game 1 for Adam Relahan. Let's see if he continues his hot hitting into this game. First pitch fastball, misses away. Well, I can't yell at the weatherman. He predicted the sun would come out late and get the temperature into the 70s. It is exactly 70 degrees. As we start this one, that pitch misses a little bit low. Now 2-0 the count. Don't have a jugs gun handy, but the way Velez is throwing, I would say he's touching in the low 90s. The wind and the pitch. Now 3-0 to Relahan, the second hole hitter for Mid-American Nazarene. This field situated on a southeast to northwest dimension, so the sunset will be behind left fielder. And a 4-pitch walk puts Relahan on base, the first base runner of the day for the Pioneers. So it won't bother any of the outfielders, but as the sun continues to set towards the west, sometimes as the year goes on, the left-handed batters have a little difficulty looking into the sun. Here's catcher Joshua Sandoval. As we mentioned, his 2 home runs puts him into a tie for the single-season record for the Pioneers. 20 home runs on this season. That pitch up and away, ball 1 the call. So Velez, who retired the first batter that he faced, suddenly has lost the strike zone. He's been around the strike zone, but not in it for the last 5 pitches. Relahan, a short lead at first. Ball hit in the left field, and it'll drop for a base hit. First hit of the game for the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers comes off the bat of Joshua Sandoval. And now runners at first to second on the walk and hit. Courtesy runner coming into the game from Mid-American Nazarene. John Vargas will courtesy run for his catcher. Vargas was the winning pitcher, the pitcher in the first game of the series. He'll come on to run.
Courtesy runner for the Pioneers, number 12, John Vargas.
That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, center fielder Dwante Freeman. Freeman, a .431 hitter. That's tops amongst the starting lineup for the Pioneers. Here's the pitch. Swings and misses. Tried to hold up but couldn't on that slider. Ricardo Velez working ahead in the count here against the cleanup hitter Freeman. So both teams get runners at first and second in the first inning. The Drovers did not cash in. Let's see what the Pioneers can do with this situation. 2 on, 1 out. 0-1 the count. On the outside corner, another slider. 0-2. So now Freeman will have to get a little bit more defensive on his swing, protecting the plate, down 0-2. Fouled out of play. He does just that, protecting the outside part of the plate. Josh Sluter alongside me here doing color commentating tonight. Mick Krupski here doing the play-by-play. Chad Jenkins, the producer. That's the cast of characters bringing this action your way. Again, fouled out of play, almost the same spot as the last one.
You know, Velez had those 5 pitches in a row that were a little outside the box, just barely, but, you know, it looks like he's starting to get that control underway, and he's getting ready to put on a show if he can keep it together.
Velez looks in, gets the signal from his catcher, Joey Pena, and now timeout requested by the batter Freeman. Coming to you live from Don Roddy Field in Bellevue, Nebraska, at the campus of Bellevue East High School. 325 down the lines, 400 to straightaway center, a bigger facility, bigger park than John Stella Field at Brown Park. That one's hit in the left field. The left fielder going back and making the catch on a nice run toward the fence. is left fielder Brandon Shumway for the second out of the inning. Freeman hit it well, but Shumway up to the task in left field, caught it just in front of the warning trap going to the power alley. It's up now to designated hitter Ryan Leo if the Pioneers can cash in the first inning. Again, all these games are 9-inning contests. The winner of this opening round bracket advancing to Lewiston, Idaho for the Avista NAIA World Series on the campus of Lewis and Clark State University. Another slider swung on and missed. So Velez back ahead in the count. Outfielders playing pretty much straight up at regular depth. Low 1-1. Pena lost where the ball was momentarily, or maybe just doing that as a decoy. I've seen that happen before. Relahan at second base doesn't bite. That's where he remains. He'll get his lead there. Vargas, the runner at first. They'll be off on contact with 2 outs. Foul tipped into the glove of the catcher. Now 1-2. Ricardo Velez trying to work out of trouble in the bottom of the first inning. A walk and a hit. Chopped on the ground to third. Gloved over there. And stepping on the third base bag, Brennan Brister makes the play to retire the side. Officially a fielder's choice on Leo. Relahan retired on the 5 unassisted. No runs on 1 hit. There were no errors and 2 left on base, so both teams leave 2 base runners on in the first. Nothing on the board through 1 inning. The Drovers and the Pioneers in NAIA opening round action. Oh my goodness, look at all these wonderful text messages that have come in. Let's go Pioneers. Let's stay fired up. Go Drovers. Couple of texts coming in. I erased all of our previous games, so if you want to identify yourself once again, that would be great. Cheering for you, Isaac Robb and the Drover team from Port Huron, Michigan. Love from Mom and family. Glad you're with us again on the Bellevue Bruin Sports Network. Go MNU, my grandson Tommy. Love to watch him play from sunny Gilroy, California. All right, send us some more sun for today and the rest of the tournament. From Joshua, Texas. Let's go Drovers. Go Brennan Brister. Love from Mom. I love Brennan's name, that alliteration of Brennan Brister. Who else was it the other day that had an alliterative name? Jacob Jenkins?
You were making comments the other day about Chaz Lopez, the double Z names, trying to figure out if there were any other names that have that alliteration at the back end of the word.
Yeah, there we go. Kind of a backwards alliteration there. Let's get them, Coach Thompson. Don't get left behind from Buck and Chloe. And time for one more here. Cooper and Kit are cheering on the Drovers and their favorite coach, Uncle Tyle Hankins. All right, thanks once again for those people who send in their text messages early on. Again, that number, if you'd like to join us, 402-515-7654. Leading off the top of the second inning, the shortstop, Brock Henderson. First pitch inside, ball 1. Sunshine settling towards the western horizon, which means it's shining kind of in our faces, so we'll adjust. We're tough. Down low, now 2-0 the count.
Fortunately for both squads, not a whole lot of left-handed hitters in this one, otherwise they'd be facing into that the entire rest of the game, at least for the next 45 minutes or an hour or so.
Yeah, it'll only get worse as the day goes on until it sets behind the trees. There's a called strike on the knees. Now a 2-1 count on Brock Henderson. As a team, the Drovers hitting .327 on the season. Mid-American Nazarene, even better than that. They're hitting at .370. So a couple of teams that can put runs on the board, but they're facing quality pitching in this opening round action. There's a pitch nicely located, outer half. Now 2-2 the count. Brock Henderson hitting .336 on the year. Bounce to the plate, blocked up by Sandoval. Nice job once again. Science and Arts of Oklahoma. This is now their 46th game of the year. For Mid-American Nazarene, this is now their 56th. So they've played 10 more games than the team from Oklahoma. A battle of Kansas versus Oklahoma in this contest as Henderson draws the leadoff walk. So both pitchers have now allowed one walk in the game. And that'll bring to the plate left fielder Brandon Shumway.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, of those 55 games of Mid-American, they start off the season pretty rough, actually. They started only 13-12, but then after that, they went on a 24-game winning streak heading into their conference tournament where they tore through and unfortunately did lose in their conference championship, but they were hot, red hot, coming into these games today.
Bunt attempt up the third base line. That's going to settle dead in the grass. It'll be an infield single on the bunt by Brandon Shumway. Using the grass to his advantage, he put it up the third base side and hit that grass, took a couple little spins, and then died dead.
Yeah, you can't get much closer to that line without it going foul, that's for sure.
If you keep it in the grass, it's going to stay fair. If it gets to that dirt, it's going to tend to roll into foul territory. So a little action for the Drovers here in the top of the second. That brings to the plate third baseman Brennan Brister. Let's see if the sacrifice might be in order to move the guys up an additional 90 feet. Henderson at second, Shumway at first. Brister at the plate. He does square. He puts it up the third base side, and again, a nicely located bunt. But coming on to make the play from his third base position, Randy Fernandez. Credit Brister with the sacrifice, 5-3 on the putout. Shumway advancing to second, and Henderson advancing to third. I'm so stupid, I have a ball cap right here, and I'm not wearing it. That's going to keep the sun out of my eyes a little bit.
It's pretty great. I have this pole in my way that it's keeping the sun out pretty well for me.
There we go. That's better.
I can't see left field, but I'm ready to commentate. I'm ready.
All right, let's get back to the action. Here's 9-hole hitter, second baseman Isaac Robb with an RBI opportunity to try to give the Drovers the early lead. Pitch low, ball one. Tommy Castro. On the hill for the Pioneers, trying to keep his team alive. They're 1-1 in the tournament to this point. Science and Arts of Oklahoma, they've only played one game. They're 0-1. The number one seed has an advantage with the schedule, and there's a balk called, and that will bring the first run of the game home. Henderson comes across on the balk. Let's take a look if we can pick it up on the replay. Still looking, still waiting.
The magic of slow-mo.
Just a little bit of a twitch there before he began his move to set. So that'll advance Shumway to third as Henderson scores. Now 1-0 our score. 1 run on 4 hits through the first inning and a third for the Drovers. They had 2 guys on in the first, didn't score, but they pushed one across here in the second. Castro back to work. Fouled out of play by Robb. Heads up over there. A smaller crowd on hand for this one. Bellevue University, the host school, defeated Concordia University from Seward, Nebraska. That's about 70 miles or so away, so 2 schools relatively close.
Yeah, Olathe, Kansas, only a couple hours away, but
that one's hit to right field. That's going to drop for a base hit. And an RBI single for second baseman Isaac Robb. And now a 2-0 score as Brandon Shumway crosses home plate. So a nice piece of hitting going opposite way. And the Drovers will go back to the top of the order. Here's Ian Lauriano. He grounded out his first time up today, facing Tommy Castro.
Center fielder number 2, Ian Loriano.
Yeah. Or that tablet, either one you want. There's paper might fly out of that one. You're okay. Up there we go. Never mind. Lined hard, shortstop. One hopper races to the bag for the first out, takes it himself and across the diamond. Nicely executed by the shortstop, Austin Healey. We've seen him make outstanding plays all tournament long. On the twin killing, that brings the inning to an end. 2 runs on 2 hits. There were no errors, and nobody left on base with the double play. After an inning and a half, 2-0 our score. Science and Arts of Oklahoma on top of the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. Let's look at that double play once again. Hit hard, but Healey handles it. Thought about tossing it. Instead, he figured it'd probably be easier just to take the play himself. Steps on the bag and across the diamond for the twin killing. Mid-American Nazarene will send up their 6, 7, and 8 hole hitters to lead off this bottom of the second inning as we take a look back to our text messages. And we got a whole bunch here. Thanks, guys. It's always great when it's a two-way street. Let's roll Pioneers. Austin Healey's aunt and uncle, Lisa and Eric, are listening in. Glad you guys are with us. Sandoval's 19th home run in the previous game drilled a car behind the fence. 2012 grad and former Pioneer All-American Ben Allison's car. That's a shout out to Ben. So a little damage done on that career or season tying home run. From Chickasha, Oklahoma, let's go Drovers, go Shumway. Let's get this win. One more, let's go Christian LeBoy and the Drovers. Let's get back to some more live action. We've got a few more left in the queue. We'll get to those in the next half inning as right fielder Josh Torrance steps to the plate to lead off the inning.
You know, it does take some guts to park out on the home run side of a ballpark. So
we talked about that in the last game. There's a fine art to knowing where to park near a baseball field to avoid the potential of damage. The first pitch from Ricardo Velez. Ball 1 call as it breaks out of the zone. Torrance has been the leadoff guy for the Pioneers for much of the season, but he's mired in an 0-for-23 slump. And he'll break that just as we mentioned it, the reverse announcer's cure. So Pioneer fans very happy that Josh Torrance might be breaking his way out of that slump. Second hit of the game for the Pioneers as Josh Torrance gets the leadoff single. Here's left fielder Jacob Jenkins. Another alliterative name, Jacob Jenkins.
do you know his batting average? If you drop that, you know, if he's gone 0 for 5 or so, you might break that record too.
There we go. Jenkins is hitting .268. So we'll see if that works for him on the reverse announcer's cure. When I do basketball, sometimes I refrain from announcing free throw shooting percentage. Hey, he's 88% on the season because he's going to clank a couple. Tough play, grounded on the inside. First baseman comes off the bag, but the pitcher drops it. Holbrook came off the first base bag, tossed it over to pitcher Ricardo Velez, but Velez simply dropped it. We're going to go E1 on that, Bill? All right, E1 on the play. Again, you can watch it. The play is there in time, but Velez just didn't secure the catch. So Torrance now at second. Jenkins, the runner, at first on the E1. So another scoring opportunity for Mid-American Nazarene. They had 2 on in the first, but failed to capitalize. 2 on, nobody out here in the bottom of the second, trailing 2-0 to Science and Arts of Oklahoma. Step back the runner. Nothing going. No harm, no foul. We had an all-Nebraska winners bracket game earlier. Bellevue University from Bellevue, Nebraska. Concordia University from Seward, Nebraska. We've got Oklahoma and Kansas battling it right now. And the number 5 seed, which was eliminated earlier today, St. Xavier of Chicago, Illinois. Showing bunt, pulling back. Ball misses away.
Yeah, seeing where some of these teams came from makes me feel a little lazy, only driving about 10 minutes to get to the park this morning.
We have it so good, right? Kyle Franklin, the second baseman here, trying to get his teammates both into scoring position. Franklin over the 300 mark on the season as well. Again, the step off. Drovers trying to keep Josh Torrance as close to second base as they can to try to limit him from getting a jump. Franklin had a couple of hits in the first game today in the win over the Cougars of St. Xavier. There's a called strike. The breaking ball had Franklin ducking out of the way. Instead, it breaks over the heart of the plate. 2 balls, 1 strike the count. Check that, 1 ball and 1 strike the count. Franklin, the number 8 hole hitter for the Pioneers. A long look, a double look. Bunting on the steal, the bunt and steal. The throw gets away from the third baseman. Turning to the corner and heading for home. Josh Torrance scores the first run of the game for Mid-American Nazarene. Credit Torrance with a stolen base and then an E2 on the errant throw from catcher Joey Pena. Jacob Jenkins advancing to second. He'll get a stolen base as well, though he just trotted easily down to the bag at second, the trailing runner. Kyle Franklin waiting at the plate, 1-1 to count on him. Breaking ball misses wide away. Pena having to scoot out into the left-handed batter's box to make that catch. Now 2-2 the count as that missed bunt attempt was the second strike of the at-bat. So 2-2 our count. Nobody out. Velez again with the look of the runner back at second. And that fastball bounces away from Pena. So the wild pitch will move Jenkins up 90 feet to third base.
You know, this is the kind of inning where Jenkins, you know, I was a guy that was always really slow as I was running the bases. I was never a very gutsy stealer. So, you know, those times where you get a couple easy bags, they're always very, very nice. Makes you feel a lot faster than you are.
We've seen a lot of good defensive plays in this tournament, but an error and a wild pitch in this inning. That'll force the Drovers infield to play up on the edge of the grass. Franklin hits it deep to left field. Should be deep enough, and the left fielder can't find the ball. Or is he just decoying? Now he sees it, but it's on the ground for a base hit. Rounding second on his way to third is Kyle Franklin. He'll slide in safely. Left fielder Brandon Shumway simply could not find the ball against the gray skies overhead, so that will be an unusual triple and an RBI for Kyle Franklin as we're tied 2-2 with Jacob Jenkins scoring on the play. He was written back to tag. And sometimes you'll see an outfielder decoy. Let's look again. Look out to left field. And there's Shumway. He's just lost. Center fielder comes over to try to help. That's Ian Lauriano. But streaking his way to third base. Good hustle by Kyle Franklin to tie our game at 2. Each team with 2 runs across in the second inning.
Yeah, and with that, Franklin actually just doubled the number of 3 base hits he had this season. Went from 1 to 2, so he's understandably pretty excited with that hit right there.
So a couple of triples in his last couple of games, in fact. Triples, one of the rarities in baseball. Only 14 triples coming into this game for the Pioneers, but they get one there and the RBI. That'll bring to the plate shortstop Austin Healey. Healey's been our defensive star of the tournament. He's thrown his body and his glove all over the place again. The Drovers bring the infield up. Swing and a miss. Pop on that fastball from Ricardo Velez. Still nobody out in the inning. A single, an error, and a triple. That one's hit foul over the top of the roof, protecting the stands. We've had 2 cloudy days for this tournament. The clouds breaking up now. Sunshine over the western horizon. Temperature in the low 70s. Velez comes set. That one's hit to left field. Again, Shumway. That one has some distance, and it is a home run. A 2-run home run for Austin Healey. jumps the Pioneers to a 4-2 lead. Franklin scores, Healey scores, and a 4 spot in the bottom of the second inning from Mid-American Nazarene.
They had the hits in the first inning. Now they're just finally knocking them in the second here.
We talked all tournament long how Healey batting in the 9-hole, a great hitter coming in at 388. Not a big-bodied guy, but that's his 12th home run of the year. 55 RBIs coming out of your 9-hole. That is outstanding. Back to the top of the order, the fastball from Velez over the top. Randy Fernandez, the leadoff hitter, second time through the order for the Pioneers. That one's hit hard to right center field. That one's going to put the right fielder chasing after it. A one-hop off the fence for Fernandez, and he'll come in with a stand-up double. So the Pioneers have hit for the cycle in this inning. A single by Torrance, a double by Fernandez, a triple from Franklin, and the home run as well. Here's that stroke off the bat of number 7, Austin Healey. He thinks he's got it right from the get-go, and he does as Shumway goes back to the fence and can only watch it land beyond. Here's Adam Relahan. He walked his first time up. So now 5 consecutive batters have reached in the bottom of the second inning from Mid-American Nazarene. Breaking ball, low, ball 1.
Pitcher Velez for Science and Art, the Drovers. He was pitcher of the week for the NAIA back in week 5, and he racked up 15 strikeouts. But today is just not seeming to be his day against such a high-powered offense.
Some outstanding pitching coming into this tournament for the Drovers, but they've met some opposition from opposing teams' bats. Bellevue yesterday, Mid-American Nazarene today. That one's hit hard by Relahan, but foul up the first base side. Action in the Drovers bullpen. Let's see Healey on this replay. Bang. Full field view. Shumway goes back, realizes he's out of room. It lands between the two fences.
Yeah, the suburban owner on the other side of that back fence was pretty happy that he saw it hit the fence, that's for sure.
Bang to left center field. Shumway right there. He'll grab it for the first out of the inning and stop the streak at 5 consecutive batters reached. That was hit well, but right at Brandon Shumway. So now 1 out in the inning. The next batter, the catcher, Joshua Sandoval. Sandoval picked up the first hit for the Pioneers in his first at-bat in this game. Sandoval with 72 runs batted in on the year coming into today's action. Gets under that one, a sky-high pop fly in foul territory up the third base side. It will be the third baseman taking charge. Brennan Brister collects it for the second out of the inning. That one went a lot higher than it went far for the second out.
Yeah, for the home run leader of the Pioneers, he was hoping that was going to go a different direction, that's for sure.
Here's cleanup hitter, center fielder, Dwante Freeman. 8th batter of the inning for Mid-American Nazarene. They trailed 2-0 coming into this frame. Now lead it 4-2. Was expecting this to be kind of a low-scoring game with the quality of pitching, but both teams are swinging the bat well. Bounce to the plate, blocked up there by Pena. A long look in with the runner at second base from pitcher Ricardo Velez. Now he comes set at the belt and delivers. Slider for a called strike 1. Slider, cutter, whatever you want to call it. Pretty good velocity and pretty good quick, sharp movement across the zone. 1-1 the count. Line hard, but foul up the left field line.
Not by much, though. That was a couple inches. If that had bounced to the right a little bit more, that would have been a nice, maybe a two-base hit there.
Third base umpire Tim Arndt on the call there. His brother Braxton Arndt, the home plate umpire today. Umpiring at first base is Aaron Christians and Connor Singheisen, the ump at second base. That's our four-man crew. Done a nice job umpiring today. The umpires never make friends, but not too many disputes through the first 5 games in this Bellevue bracket opening round. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Timeout requested at the plate by Freeman as Velez taking some time. For as hard as Velez throws, he still has not recorded a strikeout through the first inning and 2/3. 1 strikeout for Pioneer pitcher Tommy Castro through 2 complete. Fastball fouled. Nice emergency hack there by Freeman. Each team with 5 hits through the first 2 innings. 4 runs for MNU. 2 runs for Science and Art of Oklahoma. And now Velez will step off. He'll get a new set of signs from Pena. And we'll get back to the action. And they're going to change up the signals here as Pena goes out to make a trip. Once a base runner's been at second base for a significant number of pitches, he can usually figure out what sequence or what signal they're giving, so they'll go to a different set of multiples, different set of signs here. Freeman flew out to left his first time up. I like the stirrups for the Pioneers, that classic navy blue, red, gold, white.
I hate to tell you, Mick, those were out of style by the time I came through.
Oh, that pitch upstairs. That was one of my favorite uniforms when I was 7th or 8th grade. Had a gray uniform with blue and red striping and those kind of socks. All right, tripping down memory lane once again. I'll get back to the action. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And we won't have the 2-2 pitch as, again, Vela's taken a lot of time. And Freeman requests timeout at the plate. As a batter, you're very tense. You're waiting for the pitch. If the pitcher takes more time than you're comfortable with, you ask for timeout. But don't get out of there until you hear the umpire confirm it. Down low, through the wickets, past Pena. And on to third base goes Randy Fernandez. And mean old Bill Mullins, the official score, says pass ball on that one. I'm ruining your reputation, Bill. Sorry. So the runner now 90 feet away. And a full count. Payoff pitch upcoming from Ricardo Velez to Dwante Freeman. Way wide. Pena getting a glove on that one to keep it from going to the backstop. The second walk of the game against Velez. And this will be the 9th batter of the inning. Ryan Leo grounded into a fielder's choice to end the first. He's up here trying not to be the last batter of the second. The only thing worse is making 2 outs in the same inning. I've been there, done that. As the lights start to come on at Don Roddy Field. Fastball on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Four hits in the inning, including Austin Healey's 2-run home run.
Velez has thrown anything he can to try to get out of this inning.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. Now the runner stops, trying to get a run down. The runner coming in from third, the relay throw, and the umpire says, hold the phone. Interference on the batter, so he is out. Ryan Leo, interference on the play, getting in the way of the throw to second from catcher Joey Pena. So that will end the inning. So officially, 4 runs on 4 hits. There you see the play. And That's pretty close. It looked like the throw would have gotten the runner at the plate anyway, but you can't interfere. You can't get in the way of the throw of the catcher down to second base. And that was enough of an obstruction for Braxton Arndt to call the play. Again, let's look at it. And you can see the batter, Leo, hanging out over the front of the plate. But he calls it right away. A good block. So, yes, the hitter is out, so 2 unassisted on the play. He's the closest player on the interference call. So 4 runs on 4 hits. There was 1 error. And 2 men left on base because both runners officially on with the interference call. As we head to the third, 4-2 our score. The Pioneers leading the Drovers in this losers bracket game from the Bellevue bracket of the NAIA National Baseball Tournament. Oh my goodness, let's get to these text messages. Thanks everybody for sending them in. Go Pioneers. Proud of you always, Kyle Franklin. You and your team have done amazing. Love you always. From Mom. Twin sister of Eric Navarrete, a pitcher at MNU. Go Pioneers. Watching from Apple Valley, California. Eric was in the game, was it yesterday or earlier today? They all kind of run into each other. Dallas from Chickasha says, let's go Drover Nation. And we're back to the action. More text to come. Leading it off in the third, right fielder Christian Lavoie.
Now the real question is that last texter, was he in Dallas or was he named Dallas?
I'm assuming the name of Dallas. So Dallas from Chickasha. I don't think there's going to be anybody named Chickasha living in Dallas. So we'll go with that.
That's probably a good call.
Fastball down low, 1-1 the count. Tommy Castro back to the mound for Mid-American Nazarene. He got the start today. This is the third game of the tournament in 2 days for Mid-American Nazarene. They played earlier this morning and yesterday afternoon. A little chopper that'll go foul up the third base side. Mike Ross, the head coach for Science and Arts. Mike has been in Chickasha for 13 years, leading the program. A job well done. Again, working from the stretch. Here's the pitch. Chop foul at the plate. Count remains 1-2. Since the NAIA went to this opening round format in 2009, the Drovers have made 6 appearances in the national tournament. This is the 4th appearance for the Pioneers. Got that straight from the NAIA.org website. I know how to use a computer. Not as dumb as I look. That's debatable. Okay. Here's the next pitch. Low and away. Count goes to 2-2. On Christian Lavoie, leading off the top of the third inning. His team trailing 4-2. All the runs coming in the second inning so far. Hey, you got smart and got a cap too, huh? And a filter on the lens of the camera. That'll help reduce the glare a little bit for you watching in. That's why Chad gets paid the big bucks, right? That one's fouled away once again. Again, thanks to Chad Jenkins for his work all tournament long, the SID from Mid-American Nazarene. Chad and his collection of cameras and computers and headsets and microphones and soundboards.
Yeah, he's got more than a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
He is well prepared, like a Boy Scout.
Rolls of tape, chewing gum. If that doesn't work, little jam job. Roller out to short. Healey gets it. Smooth release across the diamond. 1 out in the top of the third. Little jam job right above the handle. Back in the wooden bat days, that had been an expensive swing as the bat would have cracked for sure. Here's the catcher, Joey Pena. Pena singled his first time up today. Pena, the second leading hitter on the squad, coming in hitting .387. Fouled at the plate. Pena had 2 hits yesterday in the loss to Bellevue. He has 3 hits thus far in the first two games, or 1 game at an inning plus. Swing and a miss. Each team with 5 hits to this point in the game. 4 runs for Mid-American Nazarene, 2 for Science and Arts. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball, blocked up by the catcher, Joshua Sandoval. The strikeout will be recorded at first base, 2-3 on the putout. So instead of the catcher getting the putout on the play, he'll get an assist. Here's the cleanup hitter, designated hitter, Jake Womack.
Number 16, Jake Womack.
Womack, a strikeout victim his first time up. And all I can think of when I say the name Jake Womack, Leanne Womack. All right. I'm showing my age again. You're not a country music fan either. All right. So
I missed it, man. I missed that.
Sorry.
I missed
Leanne
those years.
Womack, a great country singer. I spent about 6 months as a country western DJ back in the day. MJ Crew. He's got to be what, 26, 27?
You actually overestimated 25.
Oh, man.
25
I've
here.
got socks older than that. Here's a ground ball into the hole. Healey with a great stab. Oh, my goodness, what a strong arm from shallow left field. Austin Healey continues to put on the defensive show. He had a whole slew of highlight reel plays. Let's watch it again. Here you go. Call that one, Josh.
Just flies over. He just gets that, spins around, and no feet planted on the ground. That's a throw like Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Just chucks it, not a foot on the ground, and gets it all the way across, right to the glove of the first baseman.
Ballet dancers would love to have a pirouette like that. It's a 3 up, 3 down, top of the 3rd inning. Score remains 4-2. Pioneers on top. One more look at it. Here you go. Great view coming to his right side. Just flings it to know where the base was and throws a perfect strike across the diamond to the first baseman, Bailey Holbrook.
Phenomenal field awareness, just to spin around like that, and I doubt he even saw first base before he launched that thing across the field.
All right, going back to our last text, you brought this up, Josh. Yep, my name is Dallas, the best name ever. Ha, ha, ha.
Hey.
So Dallas and Chickasha, thanks for joining us today and letting us know the truth there. Let's go, Nears. Keep the bats rolling. Ben Allison, Pioneer baseball alum from 09 to 2012. Only a small dent in my car's roof resulting from that monster blast from Sandoval this morning. So his car was on the receiving end of Joshua's big hit in the win earlier today.
You know, the way he worded that, it made it sound like he wished Sandoval had hit it harder just to make a bigger dent in there.
There
but,
you go.
You know?
Cover your deductible, I guess. So on the board, woo-woo, go Drovers, cheering from Canada. Wish we were there, can't cross the border, but cheering loud. I wondered what that noise was. Thanks for the great commentating. We appreciate that nice comment, and we're glad to have you along. All kinds of Canadians on board for the tournament this week. Go Drovers, watching Isaac Robb, watching from Port Huron, Michigan. You guys were with us in the earlier game as well. Here's another Port Huron, Michigan. The whole town listening in. Great RBI, Isaac. Go Drovers. All right, back to the action on the field, the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Pioneers will start it off once again with right fielder Josh Torrance. All it took was to get Torrance out of that leadoff spot in the batting order, drop him down to 6, and he ended his long hitless streak with a single and a run scored his first time up. Looks at a called strike 1 here.
You know, you mentioned Port Huron. Everyone's listening, but we'd have over 30,000 viewers if I remember correctly how big that town is. So, you know, I guess we'll have to look at the stream stats and see if we do really have the whole town.
I do tend to exaggerate sometimes, but at least 2 people in Port Huron are watching. That's close to the entire town. Okay, maybe not. Here we go with the next pitch from Velez. A breaking slider swung on and missed by Torrance. He goes down swinging for the first out of the inning.
I can't tell you if my batting average was 2 for 30,000. I don't think my coach would keep me on the team for very long.
That's the first strikeout of the game for starting pitcher Ricardo Velez. Here's Jacob Jenkins, the left fielder. He reached on an error. That play at first base where the ball was dropped by Velez helped lead to the 4-run inning. So that means that 3 of the 4 runs were earned. Velez, the windup and the pitch. That one's coming our way. Any balls that come this way, you throw your 25-year-old body in front of my 66-year-old body, right, Josh?
Oh, I will. As soon as a ball comes through that manages to break through the net and the glass and the large steel pillars we have in between us and the home base, I will dive in front of you. Don't worry, Mick. I got you covered.
We're almost indestructible here. That pitch in the dirt, 2-1 the count. All right. We'll take those numbers.
They say 700 viewers?
Yeah, send them to Arbitron.
That's pretty close to the full population of Lake Huron. I'll give you that.
Here's the 3-1 offering from Ricardo Velez. Hit hard and into right field. A base hit for Jacob Jenkins, his first hit of the evening, as he rounds the corner and will head back to first, just beyond the outstretched glove of first baseman Bailey Holbrook. So Mid-American Nazarene with base runners on in another inning. Here's second baseman Kyle Franklin. He had a big triple. Actually, a triple that was lost in the sky out in left field, but great hustle from Jenkins. He didn't waste any time. He was hustling out of the box, got all the way to third on that fly ball to left field. Jenkins with the lead at first. Swing and a miss on the slider. Slider slash cutter. Hard to discern the difference between those two. They're basically the same pitch. Coming off the side of the hand of the pitcher to get a little rotation, a little spin, but not lose too much on velocity. Tries to hold up on that one. They'll appeal down to first. They say he does swing. A groan from the Pioneer fans, but it looked like the right call. 2 strikes to count on Franklin. Here it is again.
Here's that replay.
Yeah, we agree. It's a strike. You should get the head of the bat out over the plate. They're going to call it a swing. That fastball just misses low. Now 1-2. Again, Kyle Franklin coming in, just his 10th game of the year. Filling in for Bryson Sherwood, who injured his hammy. So Franklin, what did he do? Yeah, he just got 3 hits in the first game. Played some good defense at second base as well. Fastball for a called strike 3 on the outer corner. Nicely located there.
That may have not ended the way he wanted it, but truly when you have a guy that can come up like that and fill in just for the last, handful of games in a season, you got some very solid depth, and that's the whole reason that these teams have made it to the play-in round of the NAIA World Series. They are just hoping to keep that depth up and to keep it going.
Here's Austin Healey. 2-run home run his last time up, and another sparkling defensive play as well. Fouls that one off the top of the bat to the backstop. One of the Drovers hustles over to collect it. Action in the Science and Arts bullpen. It looks like, throw over to first base, it looks like it's Gene Munthener warming up down there, right-hander. But Velez working with 1 on and 2 out here in the third. Drovers want to try to get as much out of him as they can. That pitch, another bouncer all the way to the backstop. And Jenkins will go on the wild pitch to second base. So another runner in scoring position. So again, the catcher Joey Pena getting a workout, trying to keep everything in front if he can. Second wild pitch in the first 3 innings against Velez. Double look, the runner back, and now the delivery home. Foul ball squirted up the first base side. That hit off the foot of the catcher, otherwise he wound up in fair territory, so if it didn't, even though it started foul, it ended in fair. But off his foot, it's a dead ball immediately.
Between the 2 wild pitches in that error in that second inning, this has been a rough defensive showing so far for the Drovers here. They they're really hoping they can get this picked up a little bit.
Here's the pitch, chopped on the ground, foul. Out in front of head coach Ryan Thompson. All right, let's give a salute. We mentioned Ryan Thompson, the head coach for Mid-American Nazarene, 15 years leading their program. His assistant coaches are Colton Punches, Waldo Odens Jr., Kellen Richards, and Cam Screeton. Fresh supply of baseballs hustled in. For the Science and Arts of Oklahoma, Mike Ross, the head coach. Mike has been in charge for 13 years. His assistants are Tyle Hankins and Mason Stissison. Say that fast. I guess that's how you have to say it, Stissison.
Nick, I'm just happy you take all the difficult words before I have to. I at least get to copy you, so if I say it wrong, it's not my fault.
A pass ball on the play. That one gets through Pena, so second pass ball in addition to 2 wild pitches. So the defense is a little leaky today for the Drovers, as you mentioned, Josh. So the count runs to 2 balls, 2 strikes on Austin Healey. Teammate Jacob Jenkins 90 feet away from scoring. 4-2 our score, bottom of the 3rd inning. Kind of a slow-paced game because of a lot of base runners and very deliberate motions by the pitchers with runners on base. Swung on and missed, a slider. And Healey goes down for the final out of the inning. 3 strikeouts in the inning around a single, so no runs on 1 hit, no errors. 1 left on base through 3 complete. Mid-American Nazarene 4. Science and Arts of Oklahoma 2. Mid-American Nazarene has left 5 base runners on, including a bunch in scoring position. They're hoping that won't come back to haunt them later in the game. All right, back to text message land. Let's go, MNU Pioneers. This is your win. Shout out to my favorite coach, Coach Colton Punches. The text is from Anna Brunk, watching in Olathe, Kansas, the home of MNU. Way to go, Austin. Let's go, MNU. Let's go, Brock Henderson, and a whole bunch of exclamation points. That's from Presley and Harper. They're proud of you and the Drovers. So a nice mix of Drover and Pioneer fans. Let's get a couple more here. Go Dante, more exclamation points. And the Pioneers keep it going. Let's go Drovers from Stephen T. in Magnolia, Texas. Where is Magnolia, Texas? I went to school in San Antonio, but I can't place where Magnolia is. Give me an update on that, please. You make Port Huron proud, Isaac Robb. Love watching the best second baseman in the NAIA. Hashtag Drover Nation. So again, Port Huron burning up the lines between there and here. A couple more in the queue. We'll get to those in the next half inning as we get ready for the 4th inning of play. Here's first baseman Bailey Holbrook. He singled his first time up today. That pitch on the outside corner for a called strike 1. Take it for a second, Josh. I need to get this sweatshirt off.
Gets a slider straight to the pitcher. Goes right over to first baseman number 2. And that is an out right there.
All right, your audition is over. I'm back.
Yeah, I most likely did fail.
Tough crowd here in the press box. First out of the inning on the comebacker to the mound to Castro. Here's the shortstop, Brock Henderson. Henderson walked his first time up, came around to score one of the 2 runs for the Drovers back in the 2nd inning. Fouled out of play. Henderson took an offer in the game yesterday against Bellevue. Still looking for his first hit of the tournament. Hit hard to right center field. Center fielder Freeman on his horse now comes in a little bit into right center field, and he'll make the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. Don Roddy Field, a more spacious ballpark than John Stella Field in Brown Park, where we played yesterday on the synthetic field because of the rain in the area. Field conditions today here have been excellent. Tip of the cap to the grounds crew. There is a tarp, so it covered the field over the weekend rain and makes this field again playable today. Here's left fielder Brandon Shumway. First pitch swinging. He'll hit it into the gap in left center field. Freeman going over to try to cut it off. He bobbles it once, bobbles it twice. But we'll go ahead and give a stand-up double to Brandon Shumway. He was on his horse heading that way all the way. So a 2-out hit for the Drovers, courtesy of Brandon Shumway. And his second hit of today's game. A single in the second, now a double in the fourth. Here's third baseman Brennan Brister. Had a nice sacrifice bunt his first time up. That helped lead to the 2-run inning.
You know, the outfield may be farther here, but we've had a lot higher scoring games today than we had all of yesterday. Highest score we had yesterday was 8-3, but for the most part it was 4s and 2s and not a whole lot. And we've already had 9 runs on this, a 7-run game in the last game between Bellevue and Concordia. And this one is already shaping up to be a little higher scoring as well.
Part of that yesterday number, you're facing usually the ace of the staff in that opening round. Not always, but here's the look, the runner back to second. A nice pop on that fastball from Tommy Castro. Ties up Brister on the inner half. 1-1 the count. Hey, the sun settling behind a nice big fluffy cloud out there beyond the left field fence. Hopefully it'll stay there for a little while, giving us a little break. Castro comes set just above the belt. Slider, and they say on the swing, the strike called against Brister. Drover fans didn't like that call.
We got the instant replay pulling up right now.
Here it comes. That one's a little bit more debatable maybe, huh, Josh?
It was pretty even.
Chopper on the ground at third. Gloved over there. Throw across the diamond is a strike. And the Drovers are retired by third baseman. Where'd he go? Randy Fernandez. Sorry about that, Randy. 5-3 on the putout. No runs on 1 hit. There were no errors. 1 left on base. After 3.5, our score remains the Pioneers 4, the Drovers 2. All the scoring in the second inning thus far. A 2 spot for the Drovers, followed by a 4 spot from the Pioneers. All right, I know we have a few more texts to get to. Let's do that right now. More fans for Isaac from Port Huron, Michigan. Everybody from Port Huron, let's hear from you. Go Drovers. You guys are doing a great job announcing. Thanks so much. Thank you for the compliment. We'll take those all the time. And great job on the commentary as well from Stephen T. down in Magnolia. And he says Magnolia is an hour north of Houston, home of Colton Williams for the Drovers. Colton with an outstanding college career. 33-0 coming into the tournament. He picked up his first loss yesterday against the Bellevue Bruins. So good luck to him. We had several scouts in the stand for his performance. So if he gets into a professional career, good luck to him. And anyone who comes out of the ranks of NAIA baseball schools, good luck in continuing your career. A lot fewer teams in professional baseball these days. MLB did a lot of contraction of the minor leagues during the pandemic layoff. Don't know the exact numbers, but I know there are not as many around. And even back into the 50s and 60s, there were a lot more teams. It went down to as low as Class D at one point. D, C, B, A, AA, AAA, and then MLB. All right, enough of the alphabet. Let's get back to the action. Bottom of the 4th inning, top of the order. Randy Fernandez leading it off. 1 for 2 day for Randy. A double his last time up. Swinging and fouling the next fastball. 1-1 to count. The toy cannon, Jimmy Wynn. All right. Chad Jenkins giving us a similar body style. Kind of a spark plug type player. Swings and misses at that one. Now 1-2. Again, Fernandez taken to the leadoff spot today. A switch in the batting order for Coach Ryan Thompson. Up and away on that offering. Now 2-2. Josh has never heard of Randy Wynn, I'm assuming.
I have not.
There we go. Jimmy Wynn. Okay, well, yeah, Randy Wynn. Then who's that?
Oh, well, see, that's why I hadn't heard of him yet, Mick.
Swing and a miss on that pitch for the first out of the inning. The third strikeout of the game for starting pitcher Ricardo Velez. All right, Chad, how old are you?
43, but I know all baseball.
All right, very good. So you're right in the middle. So we've got a guy in his 20s, a guy in the 40s, and a guy in his 60s. So we've got just about everybody covered. We need somebody about 10 maybe to come in and give the younger version. Here's the first baseman, Adam Relahan.
I'm sure they'd know all the All-Pros on their T-ball squad.
Yep. A good place to start. T-ball, coach pitch, little league, high school, college, professional ball. Swings and misses on that pitch. A little movement into the body of Relahan. 1-1 the count. And even the over 50 league that knuckleheads like me play in. Don't know when to quit. Here's the 1-1 offering from Ricardo Velez. Fastball just misses the inside corner. Velez thought that would tail over the black of the inside part of the plate. Doesn't protest too much. He gets right back to work. Chopped on the ground, foul ball outside of first base.
There's a lot of game yet, Mick. They don't want to start complaining too soon.
Nope, never make the umpire your enemy, especially when you're on the losing side, or the trailing side, I should say. 2-2 the count on Relahan. He's a tough act to follow himself in game number 1, where he had 2 home runs against St. Xavier. That one goes behind the back of the hitter. Oops. Not quite a Bull Durham hit the mascot type of a pitch, but in the vicinity. That leads to a full count. Relahan walked his first time, flew out the second at bat. Velez delivers. That one misses way wide. So a 1-out walk. Second time Relahan has been on via the base on balls. Here's Joshua Sandoval. Not Joshua, but Joshuan, Joshua, and put an N on the end of the name. 1 for 2 today. He, too, trying to follow up a 2-home run performance earlier today. Quick throw to first base, but Relahan wasn't scampering very far off the bag to start with. Sunset in our area is about 8:15 to 8:30. We still have a ways to go to get there, but the lights are on. A big swing and a miss on a slow curveball from Ricardo Velez. Now a big open spot on the parking area beyond the left field fence. That one
Just in time.
is going to go out there as well. Where will it land? Out on the street. A majestic home run. 2-run home run for Joshua Sandoval. Makes it a 6-2 game. So 3 home runs on the day, 2 in the first. And now 1 here in the second game. For those of you of a certain age, if you remember Harmon Killebrew or Frank Howard, there you see the field view. And we're going to disappear out beyond the street. But the farthest one I've ever seen here was hit up by that black Jeep. That one a little short of that mark, but you'll take it any time. That's going to leave any park in the country. Now 6-2 our score with 1 away. Here's the center fielder, Dwante Freeman. Swing and a miss, chasing a slider. So now Sandoval, the single season leader for MNU in single-season home runs. Now 21 on the season. 1-1 to count. How many RBIs in game number 1 for Sandoval? He had 1, 2, 4. 1, 2 here. 6 more. Little chopper up the middle. Going to be a tough play. But nicely done by the shortstop, Brock Henderson, coming across the diamond to cut that one off and retire Dwante Freeman. All right, so 6 plus 72, 78 RBIs on the season for Joshua Sandoval. Now 2 outs in the inning, and here's designated hitter Ryan Leo. Called out on interference. As you see, the nice play there by Henderson. Breaking ball is wide. Leo called out last time on that interference call as the Pioneers had a double steal on with runners at the corners. Hello down the right field side. That one lined hard down that way. Action continuing in the Drover bullpen. Got a southpaw up throwing down there. That one squibbed off the bat. Gene Munther continues to throw in the pen. And now it looks like Velez gripping the back of his right leg. Mike Ross will head out of the dugout to check on his starting pitcher. Might be a cramp, or is it the back of his leg or his knee? So the trainer comes out to take a look as we take a look again at the home run by Joshua Sandoval. He'll watch that one go. He knows it's gone. No real big bat toss on that, but bang. That's one you want to watch. And don't be in the way when it comes down. Meanwhile, back on the mound. And now Velez is going to lay down while the trainer lifts. That's usually a signal of a cramp when you got something like that. So the trainer for the Drovers will do some work on the leg of Velez. The Drovers do have bullpen help available. Munther down there has been throwing for quite a while, but trying to see what's the story here with Ricardo Velez. Bang, one more time on the replay. Trying to see exactly where it lands, but we've got a small monitor that we're looking at here. It's out there somewhere.
Yeah, from my eyes, I thought it was just past that white truck that's going to be on the left of the frame, or not quite. Yep, just that white truck with the green bottom there.
In the yard of that house across the street.
Their dog will have something fun to play with if we don't manage to find it before they do.
And back on the field of play, Ricardo Velez is going to be helped off the diamond by a couple of teammates as his day obviously is done. Looks like a more severe injury than just a cramp to that right leg. So he's not putting any pressure at all on either foot. He's being carried off the field by a couple of his teammates. Well, we hope he's going to be okay, but obviously no more baseball today for Ricardo Velez. And it can't be fun trying to go down those steep dugout steps, wearing spikes especially. So coming on in relief for the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma, number 3, left-handed senior Gene Munther. So he'll come on in relief. Oh, the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's what Munther will inherit on Ryan Leo.
Yeah, this Drover pitching staff, they have quite a deep lineup. They have, on the season, they actually were 4th overall in earned run average for the year. Just ERA across all with about 3.29 for their whole staff, and they just have a very strong pitching lineup, and so they're hoping that depth is going to be able to keep them going in this tournament, in this winner-go-home game.
Munther, normally a starting pitcher. This is his 16th game of the season. He started 14, a 5-5 record, a 5.52 earned run average. He's thrown 60 and a third innings on the season. He struck out 79, so another guy that can put a K in the book. 33 walks, so about a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Opposing batters hitting .252. So when a pitcher leaves because of injury, the relief pitcher can have as many pitches as he needs to get warm, but Munther has been throwing down there for at least 2 innings, so he doesn't need too many. He's ready to go, and he'll inherit the 1-2 count on Ryan Leo. Munther working from the windup. The pitch, breaking ball, chop foul over near the Drover dugout. One and two the count. Swings and misses. A nice slider that chased in on the hands of Ryan Leo for the strikeout to retire the side. So Munther comes on, picks up the K. 2 runs on 1 hit in the inning. No errors and nobody left on base, courtesy of the 2-run home run from Joshua Sandoval. 6-2 the lead. The Pioneers over the Drovers in Bellevue bracket opening round action of the 2021 NAIA National Baseball Championship. Great commentary. You sound like Bob Uecker. I don't know if that's a compliment or a joke, but I'll take it as a compliment. I love Bob Uecker. Always used to watch him back in the days on The Tonight Show and his work with the Milwaukee Brewers and also with the national baseball broadcasts on the network as well. So thanks for sending along your greetings, everyone. Today, we are almost halfway through this 9-inning contest. Again, we'll give you that text message number if you'd still like to send along your greetings. Always great to hear from you. Now that we know where Magnolia, Texas is located, 402-515-7654.
So we've got Texas, we've got Canada, we've got California, we've got Michigan. Am I missing anybody?
Oh, a whole bunch. We had, well, I can't remember, again, all the games running together. We've had California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, where else? Utah.
Obviously,
New
we had
Mexico,
Oklahoma as well.
Yes, Oklahoma, Kansas. So we had close to 40 techs in the last game between Bellevue and Concordia. We're on our way past 24 in this game as well. All right, top of the 5th inning. It'll be the 9-hole hitter, Isaac Robb, leading things off. Robb had a base hit and an RBI, his first time up today. A lot of his family members texting in. Robb, the junior from Port Huron, Michigan. We'll mention that town one more time. Facing Tommy Castro for the second time today. Castro delivers a little flare pop-up on the infield. Will anybody get there? No, it'll drop between 3 Pioneer players trying to get there. So it's just a strike on Isaac Robb. He'll have another swing here. Robb hitting 132 coming into action today, but got that RBI single his first time up, so that'll up his average a bit. Chop foul off his front foot. 0-2 the count. Playing second base for the Drovers. Robb did not play in the first game in the loss to Bellevue yesterday evening. Solid hit to right field. Coming on to make the play. A nice defensive play for the Pioneers. Right fielder Josh Torrance got a good read and handles it for the first out of the inning. Well hit, but right into the glove of Torrance. Back to the top of the order now for the Drovers, their third time through against starting pitcher Tommy Castro. Here's Ian Lauriano. Another good baseball name, Ian Loriano. Kind of that rhythmic 3-syllable last name. Ball one as that one bounces. Yeah, you go 4. You're right. Like I said, numbers are not my strong suit. I try.
It is a good thing they cut some of those minor league teams then.
Yeah.
Apparently, you wouldn't be able to count too high.
Fouled out of play over near the playground. Nice to have a playground facility for the youngsters to run around in. It's covered by a net to protect them from foul balls, so good thinking, Bellevue East High School and the Bellevue Legion baseball program. This facility has been around since the early 1980s. Home field for Bellevue East High School. There's a breaking ball in the zone. Now 1-2 the count on Loriano. That's 3 syllables. Loriano. We'll just drop the last one. I'll make it fit. Here's the 1-2 offering to Loriano from Tommy Castro. Chopped on the ground to first. Coming to get it is the first baseman, Adam Relahan, making the play. It's now the third game I've had from Mid-American Nazarene. You'd think I would know all the starters by now, but I hate to make a mistake, so I'll always check the scoreboard first before opening my mouth.
Right fielder number 21.
2 outs in the inning on the unassisted play at first. The batter, the right fielder, Christian LeBoy. LeBoy singled in the first, grounded out in the third. That one's in tight, ball 1. LeBoy from Yabacoa, Puerto Rico. Yabacoa, another 4-syllable word. I'm expanding my vocabulary. There's a nice breaking ball in the zone, 1-1 to count. I can't even get 4 syllables with my first and last name, Mick Krupski. 3. There we go.
Well, if you pronounce the last name wrong, you probably get an extra couple.
Yeah. Lined hard to right field. It's beyond the diving grasp of the right fielder, all the way to the fence. Torrance gave it a good effort, but on his way to second base with a 2-out double, Christian LeBoy in scoring position for the Drovers, trailing by 4 runs at 6-2. They have a runner in scoring position for the catcher, Joey Pena, the 3-hole hitter. Torrance made the nice catch coming in earlier in the inning, tried to get that one as well, going to his left, but came up empty.
Next up for the Drovers, the catcher, number 24, Joey Pena.
Just after 8 o'clock here in the eastern Nebraska area.
Give us a couple more minutes, and that sun will officially be behind the trees.
Yeah, I think it's like closer to 8:30 before it's officially sundown, but we're getting closer.
We have a pretty good tree line there that may help that speed up that process a little bit.
Yeah. Breaking ball blocked up nicely by Sandoval. Doing a great job defensively as well as providing the power threat for the Pioneers. His 21 home runs. That's more than some teams have done on the year. Popped in the air to right center field. Hey, it's again the Torrance show. He's able to make that play easily to retire the side. No runs on 1 hit. There were no errors and 1 left on base. Through the first 5 innings, the Drovers have stranded 4 and plated 2. 6-2 our score. Mid-American Nazarene on top in this contest to stay alive and advance to tomorrow's action in the Bellevue bracket opening round.
You know, the last time Science and Art, the Drovers, were out in this neck of the woods, they actually ended up going undefeated through the 2017 Bellevue opening round bracket. Same place and everything, and knocked off the Bellevue Bruins twice on their way to the NAIA Vista World Series back in 2017, and then we're in the opening round in 2019 as well, making it all the way through that, once again undefeated through the opening round, and making it ended up to the semifinals of the Avista World Series in 2019.
So a good recent history for the Drovers, trying to stay alive in this one. That's my boy Tommy pitching, hoping for a win for Grandma Lois Castro's 91st birthday today. Happy birthday, Loa. Glad that you're celebrating with us. Go MNU from Lori Castro. So the family of starting pitcher Tommy Castro sending along their greetings. Uncles Aaron and Jimmy are watching from Crescent City, California. Go Austin Healey. Great commentating. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome. Glad you're along today from the Sunshine State. And Sandoval in beast mode. Go MNU. We going to the championship. Sandoval's brother from Puerto Rico. Avatar power, according to him. All right. You got to be enjoying the show being put on by Joshua and Sandoval here. Yesterday at Brown Park, today at Don Roddy Field. As we get ready for the bottom of the fifth inning, here's the right fielder, Josh Torrance. We said his name a whole bunch in the last half inning, chasing down fly balls in right field. He leads it off in the bottom of the fifth. 6-2 our score. The Pioneers, the home team, they're on top. Back to work. Gene Munthin, there's a nice pitch. Torrance tried to hold up his swing, but couldn't. 1-1 to count. That breaking ball stays down low. 2-1. Braxton Arndt, the home plate umpire in this game. That one's chopped to the right side, gloved over there. And the race to the bag is won by the pitcher covering. So score that 3-1. Holbrook to Munthinen for the first out of the inning. Here's left fielder Jacob Jenkins. Switch hitter Jenkins, batting right-handed against the left-handed pitcher, Gene Munthin. Called strike one on the first pitch. Jenkins has been on base both times, reaching once on an error, the second time on a single. Swings and misses on that one. Gene Munthin on in relief of starting pitcher Ricardo Velez, who left with an injury in the last inning. Swinging and missing. Strike three. 3 pitches, all of them strikes. The second strikeout of the game for Gene Munthin. He struck out 2 of the 3 batters he has faced thus far. Next up, the second baseman, Kyle Franklin.
Franklin opened up the day with a triple, so he's hoping to keep the bat high and just keep going today.
That pitch misses away, ball 1. That egg can't find it in the sky, triple. It counts none the same. 2-0 now the count on Franklin. Munthinen has retired all 3 of the batters he has faced thus far, but in danger of losing Franklin with a 3-0 count. Little jolt of Coca-Cola. Lubricating my voice. Starting to get Joe Cocker-ish after 6 games in 2 days.
And a few extra this weekend as you're commentating some softball as well.
Bellevue softball hosted the North Star tournament this past weekend. There's a 4-pitch walk as Kyle Franklin heads down the base paths. Always great to be at a ball field. I spent 20 years as a high school baseball coach, and still playing, as I said, now into my 60s. I'm not as smart as I should be. Here's shortstop Austin Healey. His 2-run home run, a big blast in the second inning, takes the first pitch for a called strike. I never pitched. I always played a position because I always played on teams that had good pitching. The first game I ever pitched, I was 50 years old.
Nice slow
Trying
pitch
to go
lead.
in. Nice to get it back. No, it's baseball. I had thrown 20 years of batting practice during my times at Gross High School nearby. So I don't throw hard, but I can usually get it in the strike zone. I can strike out Riley Bosch, though, for sure, who just snuck up behind us here in the press box, the Bellevue Bruin first baseman. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball to retire the side. So Gene Munthinen has come on, done a nice job. He has struck out 3 in an inning in the third. No runs on no hits. There were no errors and 1 left on base. Now that's 6 base runners left on by the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers through their 5 innings of work. 6-2 remains our score as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Tommy Castro returns to the pitcher's mound as he heads to the top of the 6th inning. Again, Castro coming into today's action with a 5-2 record, a 4.06 earned run average. So he's done an effective job thus far. He's given up 7 hits, but has scattered them. Only has allowed 2 runs, both of them coming in the 2nd inning. So Science and Arts of Oklahoma, the number 1 seed coming into this tournament, they have some work to do to get back in this one. They have 4 innings to try to get that accomplished. Castro ready to go. The first batter he will face, designated hitter Jake Womack.
Yeah, outside of a little rough in the 2nd inning, but outside of that, Castro has been in complete control so far of this game. With, as you said, he's just been given a couple hits here and there, but they have not been able to get anything going outside of that 2nd inning where they scored those 2 runs.
The Drovers actually did get 3 hits in the 1st inning, but they ran themselves out of the inning on the interference play. No runs on 3 hits in the 1st, 2 runs on 2 hits in the 2nd, only 2 hits in the last 3 innings combined. Here's the first pitch from Tommy Castro, a breaking ball called strike 1. Nice quick action on that pitch, more of a slider. Womack 0 for 2. Fouled at the plate off the shin guards of Sandoval. As Josh noted earlier, a nice ring of trees on the horizon now blocking the sun, so more and more the light will be provided by the LED lights ringing the field. Those are new, I believe, last year, upgraded from the old metal halide lights. Blocked again by Sandoval.
Yeah, you don't have to turn on those LED lights 20 minutes in advance to get some light shining.
Boom, they're on. A little bit different hue to the LED lights rather than the tradition. Back in the day, remember no, you don't. Incandescent lights, like the ones you used to screw into the socket. That's how ball fields used to be lighted. Then they went to mercury vapor. Then they went to metal halide, and now LED is all the thing. Much more energy efficient. The swing and a miss. The strikeout. First out of the inning. 2nd time Womack has gone down swinging. Next up, the first baseman, Bailey Holbrook. Holbrook had a single in the 1st. Grounded out his last time up in the 4th. Has that protective device on the inside of that front leg, trying to prevent pain on any balls he might fall off the front of his leg. Castro delivers the pitch, fouled off over near the Drover dugout. Bailey Holbrook, a junior from Thousand Oaks, California, so he has another year of eligibility in the Drover program. On the outside corner for a called strike 2, Holbrook. Not happy with that call. He'll step out for a second and then get back in. Castro comes set at the belt and delivers the pitch. Shot climbing the ladder, swung on and missed by Holbrook. Back-to-back strikeouts in the 6th inning for Tommy Castro in the middle part of the Drover lineup. Here now the shortstop, Brock Henderson. Henderson, another guy doing a nice job at that shortstop position in this tournament. He's 0 for 1 today, a walk and a run scored, and then flew out to center field. First pitch, a little bit low, ball one. Again, that nice view here coming right into your laptop, courtesy of Chad Jenkins, the SID from Mid-American Nazarene University, providing the equipment for our broadcast this week. Another pitch out of the zone, now 2-0 to count.
We've got quite the combo of staff and teams coming together to put this thing together, so it's been a great program to be working a part of.
Josh Sluter joining us for the first time tonight. Josh, thanks for your commentary. His wife Chelsea works in the Bellevue Athletic Department. A little line by drive up the middle. 4 or 5 hopper, but it's hit in a good place, and it gets its way through. So a 2-out single by Brock Henderson, his first hit of the night. Keeps the inning alive for Brandon Shumway. Shumway, the only drover thus far with 2 hits. A single in the second, a double in the fourth. Check that. Christian LeBoy also has 2 hits. Also a single and a double. Always look twice before you say something. Kind of like coming to a stop sign. Shumway awaits the pitch from Castro. Called strike one, top of the strike zone.
Yeah, the one problem is that both times these guys scored doubles, they got stranded right there on second base. So made it a decent ways, but couldn't make it all the way, which has been the story of science and art so far this game.
The team that cashes in on their opportunities is the team that's usually going to win. Again, a statement of the obvious.
Well, hey, whoever scores the most runs is going to win. So
there we go.
That's some John Madden wisdom right there.
0-2 the count. All right, guys, we'll win if we score more runs. Let's go get them. Here's the 0-2 delivery. Pena setting up on the outside part of the plate. The breaking ball bounced to the plate, but the out recorded at first. So 3 strikeouts in the inning for Tommy Castro. He has gotten stronger as the game has gone on. Let's do a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 strikeouts on the game for Tommy Castro as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Castro and his Pioneer teammates lead it by a score of 6-2.
Healey will lead off. I will play a good play at short in his homer as he comes in.
Okay.
Never mind.
Well, he won't be up till later on. We're trying to work up a nice production shot here for it, but then we realize, Healey won't come up until 9th in the inning, so maybe later on. It'll be the top of the order, Randy Fernandez, who will lead things off in the bottom of the 6th for the Pioneers. They are the home team today. Fernandez, Relahan, and Sandoval, the 1-2-3 spot of the lineup against relief pitcher Gene Montanen.
Yeah, all the Pioneers fans are hoping to see Healey sometime during this inning, and all of the Drover fans are hoping to not see him for another couple.
Healey had a couple of hits in the first game today as well, so a nice tournament for the shortstop. Here's Randy Fernandez to lead things off. Fernandez, a junior from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Oh, time to stretch. Not quite the middle of the 7th, but we'll do a 6th inning stretch here in the press box. That one's fouled out of play by Fernandez on the first pitch from Montanen. Nice slider got in under the hands of Fernandez, now 0-2.
You know, I'm a little disappointed we haven't got any text from the Dominican Republic yet, but I wouldn't really want to pay for those international texting bills.
Well, they might be in Spanish, too, and then we'd really have some troubles. Here's the 0-2. That one's fouled out of play as Fernandez, stays alive.
Yeah, I don't think my 4 years of high school Spanish prepared me for anything like that.
I can cuss pretty well in Spanish due to my days in college in San Antonio, Texas, but
this is a family broadcast,
that
Nick.
pitch a little bit low. I didn't use any of them. I'm just saying I could if needed. Montanan from Puerto Rico, so he probably grew up with Spanish as his native language as well. Here's his next pitch. The appeal to first base, they say no swing. The count goes to 2-2. Leading off the bottom of the sixth inning, Mid-American Nazarene took the lead in the second inning after the Drovers got on top 2-0, but it's been the Pioneers on top the rest of the way. There's a called strike three, a great breaking ball that came in off the plate and clipped into the zone for the first out of the inning. Here's first baseman Adam Relahan. Relahan with 2 walks in today's game, 2 home runs in the first game.
This will be a great matchup because so far Montaner has retired 4 of the 5 batters he's faced, so he's looking forward to try to keep that streak going.
Trying to keep his team close, trying to work the hold. No action in either bullpen at this point, as head coach Ryan Thompson has got to be happy with the work from starter Tommy Castro. And Mike Ross happy with the work of Gene Montanan. 2-0 the count on Relahan. Lefty-lefty matchup here. Down low now, 3-0.
2 of the few lefties on the whole lineup.
There's a pitch right down the heart of the plate. Relahan taking all the way on 3-0. Bellevue, the only team still undefeated in this Bellevue bracket. They're 3-0. They'll play tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 in the championship game. There's a breaking ball in the zone. Now full count.
Yeah, the winner of this game will have the honor to potentially play twice again tomorrow. The winner goes up against Concordia at the morning game, and then the winner of that game will go up to face Bellevue later that afternoon.
Relahan able to hold off on that pitch up and out of the zone. The appeal to third base confirms it. His 3rd walk of the game. And here's the man of the hour for Pioneer fans, the catcher, Joshua Sandoval. 2 for 3 in this one. 3 home runs on the day. Fastball up and away from Montanan. Next pitch also up and away. Montanan working very carefully here against Sandoval. The wind really no factor at this point of the game. The flag out in center field just hanging limply on the pole. But Sandoval able to generate enough power on his own without an assist from the wind. On the outside corner, there's a nicely located pitch. Now 2-1 the count.
They're just trying to keep it high and outside just to keep him from being able to have the career day he's been having so far.
Let's see, maybe if Montanan tries to jam Sandoval on this pitch, he's worked him away exclusively. Does try to come inside a little bit that time, but fouled back on a pitch on the knees. 2-2 the count. I believe Sandoval got all of his home runs early in the count, so maybe cutting down the swing a little bit here with 2 strikes. Or maybe not. That one's hit into the air to left field, but not quite the distance this time.
Right on the warning track.
Left fielder Brandon Shumway collects it for the second out of the inning. Here's center fielder Dwante Freeman. Freeman looking for his first hit of this game, 0 for 2 with the walk. The cleanup hitter for the Pioneers. First pitch called strike on the inside half. We're getting near the point where it's going to be difficult to see fly balls. We've already had 1 fly ball lost in the clouds early on. Kind of that twilight time. A good secondary lead by Relahan. He'll advance on the wild pitch. But he had that big secondary lead, and as soon as he saw the ball squirt away from the catcher, he was on the move. First wild pitch against Montanan I believe that's the third wild pitch of the game against Drover pitching.
That's what I have as well.
Swing and a miss. Got tied up inside on the slider. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Bottom of the 6th inning will be 2/3 of the way done at the completion of this frame. Down low. Underneath. Pena, I think the credit of that block goes to the umpire's shin guard. And again, we'll have a conference between the pitcher and the catcher as they want to change the signals with that Pioneer base runner looking on from second base. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 6-2 our score, bottom of the 6th inning as Pena heads back to behind home plate. And Gene Munthanen readies to deliver another pitch. The green and gold clad Drovers against the red and blue clad Pioneers. That pitch inside almost got the back foot of Freeman, able to get it out of the way. And the count runs full.
Yeah, it's very much a modern style jersey versus the classic ones, as you mentioned earlier, those stirrup pants, the pinstripes and everything, or stirrup socks, I should say.
The whole team dressed that way. Some coaches give their players an option, whether you want to go the high look, the low look, or somewhere in between. That one's fouled down the right field line. It'll go in foul territory and hop over the fence down that way. Relahan returns to second base. He was off with contact. Again, a payoff pitch. Down low, knocked down by Pena, but they'll now be runners at first and second, both of them reaching via the walk. Relahan at second, Freeman at first, and the batter will be the designated hitter, Ryan Leo. Again, base runners on the Pats. Pioneers have not been retired in order at all in the first 6 innings today. They've done a nice job of getting on base. Five walks in addition to 7 hits. So that's a dozen base runners. Fresh supply of baseballs brought in. To home plate umpire Braxton Arndt.
That's the only way people have gotten on base so far against Muntener. 3 people walked and no hits so far.
4 strikeouts and a couple of walks, 3 walks as you said, Josh. Breaking ball tries to come in the back door, just hits the outside corner. 0-1 on Leo. Double look, and now the pitch. Swing and a miss by Leo. The throw behind down to first base. A nice stop on the play by first baseman Bailey Holbrook on that errant throw. A one-hop skipper. There you see it once again. And Holbrook comes up a little gingerly on that right leg.
Looks like he overextended it as he was diving there to grab that ball to keep it from going past.
Again, a look, had a huge lead down there trying to throw behind the runner. We saw that earlier today in one of the games where a trailing runner got picked up. In fact, it was the game St. Xavier pulled it off against Mid-American Nazarene. So Freeman the runner at first, Relahan the runner at second, 0-2 the count on the batter, Ryan Leo. Munthanen comes set, looks once, looks twice, and delivers. Fouled up the other direction, up the third base line. Count remains at 0-2 on Leo. Leo 0 for 3 today for the Pioneers. Little chopper again fouled up the first base side. So nice job of keeping the ball out of the catcher's glove at least. Leo was 1 for 5 in game number 1, 0 for 3 in this one, so combined 1 for 8. He had a great Heart of America Athletic Conference postseason tournament. Would like to get his bat going if he can right here, but a swing and a miss. A nicely located pitch once again from Gene Munthinen, and the side is retired. 2 more strikeouts on the inning for Munthinen. No runs on no hits. There were no errors and 2 runners left on base, both of them reaching on the walk. 2/3 of the way done with this one. The Pioneers 6, the Drovers 2. Again, tip of the cap to the ground crew. Dragging those broom drags across the infield to smooth things out. Don't really do this much during the regular season, but tournament time, you put a little extra effort into the field maintenance. Let's check and see if we have any more text messages in our queue. We do. All right, 3 of them waiting for us. Let's go, Tommy. You got this. It's the Tommy Show. Good job, Tommy. Go MNU. Love from Beta and Papa.
I bet Beta and Papa would get all your references, Mick. I may be a couple years behind, but
There we go. We'll take that, sure. All right, come on, Drovers. Let's rally. Big shout out to number 19, Caleb Gillis. We're so proud of you and your team. Love from Mom and Dad. And that's it for now. Let's give that number to you one more time as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Hey, get ready for the 7th inning stretch in the next half inning. Text message number 402 515 7654.
and the Gillises, based on where Caleb is from, that's likely out of Oklahoma, so that's for sure picking up that state for us.
The Sooner State.
Absolutely. I'm sure we've had a couple more prior in previous games as well.
Most of them coming from the Midwest and the West Coast, Southwest as well included in that. Many from Canada, and yesterday we had one from Australia as well. All right, top of the 7th inning, Tommy Castro back to the mound, and the first batter he faces, he hits. Brennan Brister, the third baseman, reaches base. Doesn't get out of the way of that pitch coming inside. Smart move by Brister. He's a base runner with his team trailing by 4 runs. Second baseman Isaac Robb steps to the plate. Robb 1 for 2 today. The one out he did make was a solid line drive to right field. Oh, the Drovers need base runners. They trail by 4. Swings and misses at the breaking ball from Castro. Castro has started 9 games on the season. He's completed 3. Working into the 7th inning here. His team, the home team today. Fastball, high fastball, swung on and missed. Now 0-2 on Robb. Again, the entire town of Port Huron, Michigan, listening in to the at-bats of Isaac Robb. Castro looking in, gets his signal.
They're all there to support the hometown hero.
Quick throw over to first base. Brister back in plenty of time. Tommy Castro from Gilroy, California. So let's assume everybody in Gilroy is listening in as well. That pitch low, 1-2. Another one of the reasons I enjoy broadcasting, it's always a geography lesson when you find out where all these players are from.
Yeah, I was out in California for 3 years or so for college. Met my wife there and everything, but I don't know where Gilroy is, so I guess we'll just have to have one of our watchers and listeners hop on and tell us just about where that is.
Yep, I don't know where it is either, north, south, or in the middle.
I was always south or central. I never quite got up too far north.
For a long time, the Sacramento area, a very fertile recruiting ground for Bellevue baseball and basketball. Ground swung on and missed. The batter is out because first base is occupied. So the strikeout is the first out of the inning. Now the fifth strikeout of the game for Tommy Castro. As the Drovers turn it back to the top of the order, here's center fielder Ian Loriano. Loriano 0 for 3 at the top of the order today. On the outside corner, a called strike on the curveball.
Pretty consistent, flies out to right field all 3 at-bats so far.
The hold and the pitch, chopped on the ground to second base. Over to second for the lead out, a quick release to first, but not in time. 4-6. On the play on Brister at second base, a fielder's choice for Lauriano as he just avoids the double play. Good hustle by Ian Lauriano heading down the line. The next batter for the Drovers, right fielder Christian LeBoy. There's the out at second, and oh, there we go.
This is not as easy as it looks.
Zoom, yeah. Good job by Chad. That one we'll let you slide on. You've done a great job all tournament over here. It's tough to do the board, the camera, and listen to our jibber jabber as well. There's a breaking ball for a called strike on the first pitch to LeBoy. LeBoy with 2 hits, 2 for 3 today. He and Brandon Shumway, the only 2 Drovers with 2 hits. A combined half of their 8-team total. 1-1 now the count.
Yeah, I'm sure Chad just wishes that the mute button worked on more than just over the air. Wishes that it could shut us up here in the booth as well.
Here's the next pitch from Castro. That one's hit hard into right field. That'll drop for a base hit. In fact, it's hit so hard that the runner Loriano will have to stop at second base. So the first hit in the inning to go along with a hit by pitch and a fielder's choice. So the Drovers now with 2 on but 2 out. Here's the 3-hole hitter, the catcher, Joey Pena. Pena 1 for 3 today. Pena had 2 hits in the opening loss against Bellevue University. Would like to double his hit total today from 1 to 2. Try to score another run to cut into that 4-run deficit. The pitch hit hard and through into left field. Here comes a runner around third. The throw will go to third base. An RBI single by Joey Pena, and he does just what we talked about, an RBI single to score Ian Loriano with the 3rd run of the game for Arts and Science of Oklahoma. I said that backwards, but you know what I mean, Science and Arts of Oklahoma.
I doubt you're the first broadcaster to do that, Mick.
There we go. They used to like to be referred to as USAO, but they have a new marketing campaign. They like to be referred to as Science and Arts, or SNA. Here's designated hitter Jake Womack. He's looking for his first hit today, 0 for 3. Runner 7. Luke Lewis on to run for Pena, the catcher, the courtesy runner. Luke Lewis. Tommy Castro working against Jake Womack on this matchup. But timeout requested, no pitch on the play. Action in both bullpens as we head to the late innings. Coaches want to have some options for pitcher-batter matchups. Swing and a miss. Fastball pop from Castro. Now 0-2 the count. Let's see if Castro tries to waste a pitch to try to get Womack to chase, or if he goes right at him at the 0-2. Runners at first and second. LeBoy and Lewis, the base runners for the Drovers. Bounce to the plate. One of those pitches that's really a waste that batter never really is going to offer it, something that bounces in front of the plate. But the count goes to 1-2.
Yeah, especially not a batter like Womack. He's 367 on the year, and he's third overall for the team for RBIs as well. So he's strong presence on for the offense, and so they're hoping he can get this game a little bit closer here in the 7th inning.
Drovers dugout and Drover fans trying to make a little bit of noise here in the top of the 7th inning. They're 1 run closer, now trailing 6-3. Up and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Again, Castro trying to get Womack to chase. He's able to lay off those last 2 pitches. Now Castro's going to come a little closer, either in or around the strike zone here to prevent going to a full count. With the 2 runners on, they'll be off with the pitch if it does go full. Sandoval pounds his catcher's glove, anticipating the next pitch, but first a timeout request. Castro sets at the belt, just above the belt. The pitch hit in the air to center field. Center fielder has to go back a couple of steps, but he's there to make the play. Dwante Freeman hauls it in, and the side is retired. The Drovers do pick up 1 run, but they leave a couple on base. 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors and 2 left on base. As we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, it's stretch time. Join us and take me out to the ball game. Josh, this is where you're supposed to sing. Forgot to tell you that before the game.
Oh, that's why you asked for color commentary.
Yeah.
You wanted somebody to help out for that. Yeah, my wife was a vocal major in college, so that probably would have been a good fit for her. But we met in choir, but she was quite a bit better than I am. So I think I'll stick with talking, and I'll let her do the singing for us.
Have Ed get Chelsea here tomorrow to do the national anthem before the 11 o'clock game tomorrow. So,
you know, if I remember correctly, I think she made an offer where she's willing to do for the if possible game.
Okay.
But only if Bellevue Bruins make it that far.
All right.
She wants to go and cheer on her home team and do it that way.
Bellevue, the only undefeated team left in the tournament. They will advance to tomorrow afternoon's 2:30 championship game. The winner of this matchup between the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma and Mid-American Nazarene will take on Concordia University tomorrow at 11 a.m. And then they'll have to turn right back around and take on the Bruins at 2:30. All right. Song has finished. Rest in peace, Harry Carey, who really brought that back from his time back at Wrigley Field. Bottom of the 7th inning. Bottom half of the order, 6, 7, 8 hole hitters. Josh Torrance will lead things off. He's 1 for 3 today. Gene Munthinen continues in relief. That one's hit out of play up the right field side.
I think keep hitting like that, I may not have parked far enough away.
Munthinen again, the wind and the pitch. That one comes in tight, 1-1 to count. Mid-American Nazarene, the home team, so they're hoping they won't have to bat in the bottom of the 9th. Swing and a miss. A little cut fastball slash slider from Gene Munthinen. Swing and a miss, a tailing fastball, another strikeout from Munthinen. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strikeouts since coming on in relief in the 4th inning. So a nice effort from the mound from the Drover southpaw. Here's left fielder Jacob Jenkins.
Yeah,
Jenkins 1 for 3.
it's held true so far. They've struck out or walk. I think he's had one batter so far that hasn't had either a strikeout or a walk coming away. So he is happy to fill that pitch count.
1 fly ball and 1 ground out back in the 5th inning. So Muntinen back to work. That breaking ball clips the outside corner. Just the back edge. Now 0-2 the count on Jenkins. That one's chopped on the ground. Handled deep in short by Henderson. His throw on the mark across the diamond. Another nice play by the Drover shortstop, Brock Henderson. Here's second baseman Kyle Franklin. Franklin with a triple and an RBI, a strikeout, and a walk. Again, the battle between the number 1 seed from Oklahoma, the number 2 seed from Kansas, to see who stays alive in the tournament to play tomorrow. The first pitch to Franklin is up high, ball 1. Fastball down the heart of the plate. Strike 1, 1-1. You can see now where the field lights have pretty much taken hold, providing all the light on the field right now. Swing and a miss, another tailing fastball. Muntinen continuing to do a nice job mixing his pitches and location. Pioneers have not been retired in order all game, but the first 2 up have been outs. A chance right here. That pitch just misses up. 2-2 the count. Drover fans wanted that call. Four runs in the second inning. That was the big inning thus far from Mid-American Nazarene. 6-3 our score right now. Pioneers on top. And there we have a ball bounced, swung on to throw to first base. A strikeout recorded at first base. So there is the first 3 up, 3 down inning of the game for Pioneer batters. As we head to the 8th inning, our score remains Mid-American Nazarene 6, Science and Arts of Oklahoma 3. 6 more outs for the Drovers. Tommy Castro, the first Pioneer player, back out onto the field. He wants to get back out on that mound and continue his great work. 5, 6, 7 spots in the order up to face Castro. A couple of guys standing around in the bullpen. Don't see anybody throwing as of now, but you would expect somebody to at least be tossing the ball around lightly just in case Castro gets into some trouble. All right, a few more texts. Thank you. Brim Love, let's go Drovers. New Mexico is still watching. Go Pioneers. Again, the land of enchantment. I love that on the license plates for New Mexico. Let's go Joshua. A shout out from Josh Compton. And one more, let's go Drovers from the Shavers listening in Santa Fe, Texas. Good question. From the third base dugout to the press box here. Thanks, Josh Compton. The backup catcher probably shouldn't be sending text messages while the game's going on. So, all right, you've been caught red-handed.
That's pretty gutsy, calling the commentators or texting the commentators mid-game.
We're glad you've got the better look at the game than we do. You're right at field. You're actually even below field level, as these are true dugouts. They're down about 4 feet from field level. The first pitch to Tommy Castro is a called strike 1. Do we have a pinch hitter here? We do. New hitter, Luke Lewis. There's another breaking ball in the zone. So Luke Lewis batting for Bailey Holbrook in the 8th inning. We saw Lewis earlier in the game as a pinch run, or courtesy runner, excuse me. Down in the count, 0-2. Tries to check his Swede, can't do it. Blocked up by Sandoval. He'll throw it down to first base. We've seen quite a few swings and misses at strike threes that the catchers have had to throw it down the line to the first baseman. There's the first out of the inning. Here's shortstop Brock Henderson. We'll see if Holbrook re-enters the game defensively in the bottom half of the inning. Drovers down to their final 5 outs, trailing by 3. Pressure tightens a little bit more with each at-bat that gets away. There's a breaking ball, slider on the outside half, strike 1. Brock Henderson, 1 for 2 today. A single and a walk. He's been on base a couple of times. Fouled back to the screen. The Drovers have had 10 hits. They've out-hit the Pioneers 10-7. But the Pioneers have made more of their hits count, especially in that 4-run second inning. 4 runs in the second, 2 runs in the fourth for the Pioneers. 2 runs in the second, 1 run in the seventh for the Drovers.
Yeah, and those hits were assisted a couple times to get home by a couple errors, a handful of wild pitches, and just enough to be able to get that 6-3 lead.
Not a crisply played inning defensively for the Drovers in that second. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count on Brock Henderson. Pitch outside, 2-2. Tommy Castro with 6 strikeouts on the game through the first 7 1/3 innings. Most of his strikeouts coming in the last 3 innings. In fact, 4 of them coming. Breaking ball outside. Henderson lays off that pitch. Had to be tempting with 2 strikes. He holds up and the count goes full. Again, the Drovers looking to get base runners. Drover bench, Drover fans making a little bit of noise trying to encourage their team. Right now their hopes lay on Brock Henderson. Fouled out of play. We'll do it again.
Watch Henderson flip this back to his teammate as he walks up to the plate. It's pretty nifty.
Here's a little back flip for you. How's that for being alert as the in-hole hitter? Nice catch. My sister used to be a drum majorette. She'd be proud of that catch.
Throw all the batons all
That's
everywhere.
right. That one wasn't on fire, though. Those are the fun ones. Here's the 3-2 pitch once again. Down low and away. And it'll be a walk for Brock Henderson. He becomes the base runner with 1 out. The Drovers have the tying run in the on-deck circle right now. The batter stepping up, left fielder Brandon Shumway. Shumway has 2 hits, 2 out of 3 today. So he's had a productive evening for the Drovers.
Shumway's a hometown boy out of Chickasha.
I haven't said Chickasha in a while. Thanks for reminding me.
Well, thank you for telling me how to pronounce it at the start of the game.
Josh Sluter over there, Mick Krupski right here. Thanks for joining us tonight on the Bruin Sports Network. Final couple of innings to go. There's a nice sweeping curveball from Castro, called strike 1 on Brandon Shumway. Starting to add some colors to the sky. A little bit of pink, a little bit of purple. A bunt attempt up the third base side, but that's foul. Count goes to 0-2. Drovers realizing they need base runners.
Trying to get as many guys as they can in a scoring position and hope that they can actually get them across the plate this inning and not leave quite as many batters in scoring position at the end of this one.
Shumway, the 7-hole hitter, back in the left-hander's box.
Visiting gun, not even our gun.
So we had a kid 5 years ago, threw maybe 6
hit down the left field side, but that's going to be well foul over near the
Josh Compton's hit.
dugout. Josh Compton, who we heard, maybe that's why he's texting. He's down in the bullpen, snuck a phone down with him, and texted up here so Ryan Thompson wouldn't know what he's doing down there. Action in the Pioneer bullpen, a right-hander throwing. Number 33, Nathan Torres heating up. That pitch upstairs, now 1-2 the count. Tommy Castro has gone the distance for the Pioneers. Gene Munthinen on in relief of starter Ricardo Velez, who injured his leg back in, what was it, the fourth inning? Yes, the fourth. That one hits the front foot. Or no, it missed, but a nice job of acting by Brandon Shumway. He fooled me, but he didn't fool the home plate umpire. Good job of being on top of the play there by Braxton Arndt. Count goes to 2-2. That has some presence of mind for Shumway to try to get on base that way. Doesn't matter how, you just need base runners, trailing by 3 in the 8th inning. 2-2 delivery coming up. Chopped on the ground and through the hole. Healey able to make the grab before it gets through, but there's nothing he can do with it. The third hit of the game for Brandon Shumway. He's at first. Brock Henderson is at second. And the scheduled batter, third baseman, Brennan Brister. But it looks like we will have a pinch hitter for the Drovers, number 17, Connor Woyan. Connor Woyan stepping up to plate here on the pinch hit. We saw him come in the game yesterday to pinch hit.
That's an Oregon native playing for an Oklahoma team out here in Omaha, Nebraska.
A lot of JUCOs up in the Pacific Northwest, so Bellevue is oftentimes headed up in that direction for ball players. Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana.
They're also oftentimes mistaken for Bellevue College out in that Pacific Northwest.
Bellevue, Washington. And that'll be the end of the line for Pioneer starter Tommy Castro. He'll leave to a nice round of applause from the Pioneer fans on hand here. In fact, a standing ovation from his fans and teammates. He goes 7 1/3 innings. The runners at first and second are his responsibility as we await Nathan Torres on his way to the mound, the first call to the bullpen for the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. Nathan Torres, no wins, no losses, only 5 2/3 innings of work on the season. So a big spot for him to come into this one, a 3.18 earned run average, 8 strikeouts and 5 walks in those 5+ innings of work. So Nathan Torres toes the rubber, 6-foot senior from Hatillo, Puerto Rico. Quite a few international players in today's game between the Drovers and the Pioneers. Representatives from Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so that's not international, but Dominican Republic. Thought I saw a Canadian in there. Yep, there's Canada. Another Puerto Rico.
We got a Venezuela.
Venezuela, that's it.
Andres Romeo.
Valencia, Venezuela. So a handful of international players participating in today's contest.
Now I feel like a world traveler. I lived in Valencia, California for about 3 years.
There you go.
Not quite as far of a trip as Venezuela.
Famous for?
You talking Valencia, Venezuela, or California?
Either one. They both have to be named after Valencia oranges. I don't know. I'm assuming that. Sometimes I make stuff up, but
well, checks out for me.
That makes sense.
Not a whole lot of oranges being grown out in Valencia in my neck of the woods, but maybe.
My wife hates that one. I don't know. I'll make something up. It sometimes sounds semi-intelligent. So the Drovers trying to come back from a 6-3 deficit. They have runners at first and second. That's Henderson at second, Shumway at first. And the batter will be the pinch hitter, Connor Woyan.
You know, I was expecting you to have some reference that I was too young for, Mick. I wasn't quite expecting oranges.
No, well, what else? Valencia
Left field, number 28, Charles Elam.
into left field. Number 28, Charles Elam on defensively for the Pioneers, replacing Jacob Jenkins. Here's the first pitch from Nathan Torres. On the inside corner, strike one. Slider on the first pitch from Torres. Woyan awaits the next one, down 0-1. Runners get their lead. Just low, 1-1. Got a good look on that from the home plate camera. Joshua Sandoval checks with home plate umpire Braxton Arndt. That's one of those, could have gone either way. Tying run at home plate. Woyan pinch hitting, swings and misses on that one.
Connor Woyan hasn't seen a ton of action with just over 40 at-bats so far this season, but he does have a number of homers. Got 3 homers on those 40 and then 10 RBIs, and so he is...
A little flare out behind second base. Austin Healey gets out there to glove it for the second out of the inning. So Nathan Torres able to make the catch. Yeah, none of the umpires called infield fly on that. They wanted to make sure that Healey was able to make the play, and he does, so no call, no foul. Here's second baseman Isaac Robb.
Number 10, Isaac Robb.
1 for 3 on the evening. And again, it's up to him to cash in the runs or at least keep the inning going. Henderson remains at second. Shumway at first. Robb at the plate. That one's bounced to the plate. Nice job by Sandoval. You're not expecting a fastball to hit that far in front of the plate. Did a nice job of staying in front of that. Robb does have 2 home runs on the year. He represents the tying run at the plate with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And Torres is going to do everything he can to keep this score where it is.
Look, the runner back to second, delivers. That one's fouled off the catcher, Sandoval. Count goes to 1-1. Torres looks like he's getting the fastball up there in the vicinity of 90 miles an hour.
Only a handful of innings this year. Yeah, he's nice to find late in the year.
Chopper bobbled at third base, and the inning will stay alive. Robb reaches on the E5. Third baseman Randy Fernandez got over but couldn't glove it cleanly. And so the bases are loaded with 2 outs and back to the top of the order. Here's center fielder Ian Loriano. You see the play? Henderson got the glove on it, but it can't be secured. So hustle on the base paths.
And just like that, Nathan Torres, not a whole lot of action so far this season here for the Pioneers, but he is in quite a predicament here right now.
All right, scratch that. Bill Mullins, he's the official scorer. He'll give that an infield hit. A tough play for Henderson with the speed of Robb heading down the baseline. So the second hit of the game for Isaac Robb. Any way you look at it, the bases are loaded of drovers. Here's Lauriano. 1-0 the count. Working against pitcher Nathan Torres, coming on in relief of starter. That one's again bounced, and again Pena. Very defensive, using his equipment like a hockey goalie to stop that one. Here's a pressure spot. Torres probably trying to overthrow a little bit and losing control. Opposing batters only hitting 118 against Torres, but as we said, only 5 2/3 innings of work coming into this one. Pressure situation, 2 out, bases loaded, down by 3. The pitch, that one's low and away. Now 3-0 the count. Nowhere to put the batter because the bases are juiced. Drover fans making some extra noise. Action down in the bullpen once again. Loriano will most likely be taking all the way, and he doesn't have to offer, and he'll earn the RBI on the 4-pitch walk. Now 6-4 our score as Brock Henderson crosses home plate. Shumway moves up to third, Robb to second, and Lauriano
with the RBI walk.
Oh, they called that a strike. I'm sorry. There's another strike. Oh, I was already putting things in the scorebook. I apologize. There was no run on the play yet. The count goes full. And Drover fans hating the last 2 calls. I apologize. Mike Ross wants to talk to his hitter because Ian Loriano thought he had earned the walk on back-to-back pitches, both of them called strikes. So a little strategic timeout by Coach Mike Ross just to talk to his batter to get him to not be frustrated by those last 2 calls. You get 1 offensive conference per inning, and Ross has just used that. That's what home plate umpire Braxton Arndt is writing down in his book. So the runners will be on the move. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases juiced. The battle between Nathan Torres on the mound and Ian Loriano at the plate. Runners go, and the pitch is ball 4. So now, I was a prophet, a little ahead of myself. It's an RBI bases loaded walk as now Brock Henderson crosses the plate. Brandon Shumway to third, and Isaac Robb to second. So I apologize for getting the wrong call, but it worked out that way anyway, so I didn't have to worry about using ink in my scorebook that I can't erase. So now we have a 2-run game, 6-4, and it's right fielder Christian LeBoy. What's LeBoy done today? He's 3 for 4.
This is about the perfect case scenario. Obviously, they'd wish they had a couple fewer outs going into this, but science and art couldn't ask for a better gentleman be coming up to bat with the bases loaded.
First pitch fouled back to the backstop, rebounding back near the plate.
The boy's the leader in at-bats this season, home runs this season, leader in RBIs this season for the Drovers. He is absolutely the man you want at the plate right now.
That pitch almost hits him. He backs away. His teammates yelling at him to wear that one off the hip, but that's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming in. That's going to hurt, whether he hits his bone or flesh. So now 1-1 the count. LeBoy wants to hit, doesn't want to be hit.
Maybe if he was wearing Pena's ankle and shin guards, he might have taken that one. But
here's the 1-1 pitch. Foul tipped into the glove of the catcher Sandoval. Now 1-2, advantage to the pitcher, Nathan Torres. A pressure-packed bottom of the 8th inning. 1 run across, bases still loaded, 2 outs. Torres, the senior. Jam job off the handle, fouled into the stands. Count remains at 1-2. Both starting pitchers still the pitchers of record in today's game. Nice job by LeBoy to stay alive, spoiling a pitch on the outer half of the plate. 4 runs on 12 hits for the Drovers, 6 runs on only 7 hits for the Pioneers. One of these teams' season will come to an end at the end of this game. One will play again tomorrow morning, at 11 a.m. Down low, 2-2. Again, we'll point out this is the count where Torres wants to make something happen. If the count goes full, all 3 base runners will be off with the motion of the pitcher. So Torres wants to try to get it done here. LeBoy taking some time. Now he's back into the batter's box and ready to go. Again, chops it foul, spoiling a nice pitch on the inner half.
Torres hasn't faced that many batters yet, but he has absolutely filled the count. He is making every batter work for it as he's going for it, and they're making him work for every out or every base.
Eric Navarrete, the closer for Mid-American Nazarene, he worked a little bit in their game yesterday, 3 innings. Not sure if he's going to be available today to come in. Again, the 2-2 pitch. Fouled again, the 3rd consecutive foul ball on a 2-2 count. As Christian LeBoy spoiling off some good pitches. The more pitches you see, the more likely you are to make good contact. At least that's a philosophy that Christian LeBoy is thinking about right here. Again, Torres trying to keep his focus in the strike zone. You see him looking in, getting the signal from his catcher, Joshua Sandoval. The set at the belt, down low, right in front of home plate. So here is the full count situation. It'll be a track meet. All 3 runners will be off with the first motion of the pitcher, Nathan Torres. So a base hit could easily score 2. An extra base hit could easily score 3 and give the Drovers the lead. Torres has already walked in 1. Doesn't want to do it again, but Christian LeBoy, a tough out for the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. Fans really getting into this, clapping and chanting on both sides. Here comes a payoff pitch. It's called strike 3 right on the inside corner. Christian LeBoy does not like the call. A questionable call right on the inside corner. The strikeout retires the side after LeBoy fought off a lot of tough pitches. Here it comes on the replay, coming right at you. Here's the location. LeBoy thought it was inside. A nice frame job by Joshua Sandoval. And just a tad late on the call, but it is a strikeout, and we will head to the 9th inning. 4-man umpire and crew at home plate. I don't know if somebody's been ejected or not, but we'll head to the 9th inning. That's a crazy top of the 8th. Heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors and 3 left on base.
Yeah, LeBoy had a couple of his teammates come out and make sure he made it back to the dugout. Just to keep another man in the game, make sure he didn't say anything he was going to regret come the umpire.
That's one of those pitches that could have gone either way. I mean, it's right either on the inside black or just off the inside black, and that's why you're an umpire. You make those decisions. And Mike Ross looks like he's going to make some defensive substitutions. Yeah, it looks like is Brister back in at 3rd.
He's standing statuesque to the point where we cannot see his number. Number 5. Number 5 is out there on 3rd.
So, yes, Brendan Brister re-enters the game to play 3rd base defensively. No other changes. As LeBoy back to right field after that tight called strike 3.
Yeah, that's the kind of call where you make it one way, you're going to have some green jerseys mad at you. You make it the other, you're going to have some red jerseys mad at you. So.
And here's where I've got a problem with the umpire and crew. LeBoy is really hot because that was a tight call, and the second base umpire went right out and got into a conversation with him. The umpire should just walk away, Don't get involved. Don't get the player more upset than he already is, as again, a couple of Drover players having to be restrained by the coaching staff and fellow teammates. Ian Lauriano, one of them being pushed back out into center field.
Defensively for the Drovers at second base, number 12.
It's an emotional moment, but your job in that point is to keep them restrained as possible and just, let it happen. It happened.
Yeah, let the guy vent his frustration. Yes, he's mad, but you don't need to throw somebody out of the game on a pitch that could have gone either way. Mike Ross now heading back to the dugout after getting his players back under control. So after all that excitement, 6-4 is our score as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's Austin Healey in the 9-hole spot on the top of the order for the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. Here's the first pitch to Healey. Swung on and missed. Back for more work. Gene Munthanen, he's done a great job in relief. Coming on in the 4th inning, he's thrown 3 and a third innings of scoreless relief. Breaking ball down a little bit low. 1-1. And now every close pitch is going to be questioned by either team, or fans, or coaches, or even us here in the press box. We try to be impartial, but that one fouled off the front foot of Austin Healey. Count goes to 1-2.
MNU guy, 4 inches inside.
The worst thing about the call, and again, this is my opinion, the call was late. It wasn't immediate. The umpire took an extra second before making the call, so all the Drovers thought it's a ball. Make that decision quickly. That was one of the things I used to teach in umpiring schools. If you sound indecisive, you're going to get into trouble. 2-2 the call. Foul down the right field line. Couple players giving chase, but they won't be able to make the play. First baseman Bailey Holbrook, the closest player to it, but he comes up short. Bottom of the 8th inning, Mid-American Nazarene, the number 2 seed, leading the number 1 seed, Science and Arts of Oklahoma, by a score of 6-4. It'll come down once again to the 9th inning. We've had quite a few close contests in the 6 games in this tournament thus far. Did it hit Healey? It just missed him. It bounced by his feet and squirted away. That got a piece of the catcher, Joey Pena, I think. He readjusts his equipment, heads back to the plate. So a full count here, 3-2 on Austin Healey, leading off the 9th.
That was quite the spin move. That would have fit pretty well in a game of dodgeball.
Here we go. The deciding pitch. Right back up the middle. Austin Healey again gets bat on the ball contact and drives it up the middle. That's his second hit of the game. The first one coming on the 2-run home run in the 2nd inning. So a 2-for-4 day for Healey, as Mid-American Nazarene tries to get a little more insurance on their 2-run lead. Back to the top of the order. Here's Randy Fernandez. Let's see if Coach Ryan Thompson might be thinking about a sacrifice here with the top of the order. 100%. Chad Jenkins predicts with 100% certainty that a sacrifice will be going here. If he does sacrifice, he's going to want to put it down the first base line. And again, an issue between the umpires and the Drover dugout. Don't look for trouble. Walk away. Close your ears. Yes, it's a frustrating situation. It's a bang-bang call. Now a warning issued. And we may have somebody ejected. It looks like Isaac Robb has been ejected from the game. Don't know for sure, but we can assume it's for comments he made. So who's at second? No, who's at first? 12 is at second. All right, we'll get that updated after this pitch. That was fouled out of play, so you lost 100%. That's why Chad's not a gambling man.
And that's why he's up here with us at the sound booth.
Playing second base for Science and Arts now is Gage Gaunt. Gaunt got the start there yesterday. That was the other guy with the alliterative name, Gage Gaunt. So Robb out of the game after collecting that single. So now we've lost our Port Huron fans. Darn. Again, you're talking about a pressure-packed situation. These teams battling to compete to keep their seasons going. Now he squares the bunt, spins away a foul ball off the bat, then off the foot of Fernandez. At least that's how it appeared from here. Call confirmed by the first base umpire. So now 0-2 the count as a fresh supply of baseballs back out to the umpire. And they're going to say it's not foul. And now Mike Ross is going to contest. Nope, he's going to go out to talk to his pitcher. Let's look again. We'll get a good view of it here. The ball's going to hit in the dirt. We're all watching closely at the monitor here. Squares to bunt. Well, if he made an attempt, it's a strike and the ball's dead. But the home plate umpire ruled there's no attempt. And it hit him in the back foot. Ooh, that's tough. All right, so it's ruled a hit by pitch. That'll advance Healey to second. And now Fernandez at first.
Here's the pitch from last inning to end this.
Let's take one more look from up here. It looks like the glove of Sandoval brought the ball back into the zone, but it was close enough for the home plate umpire to call it a strike to retire the side.
That is a perfect framing clinic right there by the catcher, just
Yep.
putting that right back into the strike zone and making it seem a little bit closer than some might say.
Here's first baseman Adam Relahan. Runners at first and second. Let's see if the bunt is in order here with the two-hole hitter. Batter squares on the pivot move to second base. Well, that answers that question. If he was going to be squaring to bunt or not, which is why you do it. Now your defense can adjust accordingly. The first baseman playing in. If Relahan bunts, he's going to try to bunt it up the third base line. Munthinen holds. The delivery is bunted right back to the mound. The play to third. It's just in time to retire Austin Healey heading down that way. So the sacrifice is not successful. Instead, it's a fielder's choice on the play. Fernandez to second, Relahan to first, and Healey is retired 1-5. It didn't look like Munthinen had a real solid grip on that throw. Kind of threw a changeup over there. It made it a real close play. Bang, bang at third. And now here's the home run king, Joshua Sandoval. 18 will be the pinch runner for Fernandez at second. And where'd my sheet go? There we are.
18 is Joey Calamayo.
Thank you very much.
I just was about 2 seconds faster than you, Mick.
You're younger, you should be.
But more experience. You know what you're looking for before I do, sir.
All right, so Calamayo comes on a little bit more speed at second base as the Pioneers trying to add some insurance to their two-run lead. Here's Sandoval. Velez working. That one's hit.
Caught open-handed by the man on deck, number 11.
Gotta be head. You're not expecting as an on-deck hitter that a right-handed batter is going to hit one your way. But good heads-up play by Dwante Freeman. 0-1 on Sandoval. Flew out his last time up. He's 2 for 4 today. Swing and a miss. A nice breaking ball biting down from Munthinen. A great job of relief pitching by Gene Munthinen, coming on in relief of starting pitcher Ricardo Velez. No runs against Munthinen to this point. but the Pioneers are threatening here in the bottom of the 8th. Chopped on the ground to short. 6 to 4 to 3. The Drovers complete the double play and get out of the inning. So the sacrifice bunt that went awry was the first out, and then the 6 to 4 to 3 double play from Henderson to Gaunt and on to first to Holbrook. And it'll take us to the bottom of the 9th inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. All right, last inning was exciting. Let's see what the 9th inning will be all about as well. All right, a couple of quick text messages updates. Good job, Tommy. BC is watching too. Gilroy is in the Bay Area, about an hour south of San Jose, 45 minutes from Monterey. Thanks to the Castros for giving us that geography update. And here's another one. Gilroy in the Bay Area. That's San Francisco Bay, 30 miles south of San Jose, the garlic capital of the world. My wife's favorite spice.
Is that one of the real things, or is that something you're making up too, sir?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's for real. Another one letting us know where Gilroy is. Tuning in to watch some quality baseball and commentating. Love some NAIA baseball on a Tuesday from Buffalo, New York. Hey, thanks for joining us from Buffalo.
Is there really a bad day for some good baseball, though, Mick?
Every day is a good day for baseball, except when it's snowing. We've done some games in the snow before. Hey, it's fun watching these two teams battle out and burn pitching. Bruins are ready to go tomorrow. Roddy Field looks great at dusk. What a great setting. Go Bruins. From Whidbey Island, Washington, you and your crew are delivering the goods. Back on board tomorrow. Thanks once again for joining us. Bruins sitting in the upper hand, the only undefeated team. And one more Bruin fan says, go Bruins, with happy faces and baseball emojis. Time for a Drover rally. Go Drovers from the Bristers grandparents in Ranger, Texas. Let's see what more we can get in here. Indeed, the Gillis family in OKC, Oklahoma City, cheering for our Droves to battle up. Here we go with the top of the 9th inning. Last chance for the Drovers, trailing by 2. It'll be catcher Joey Pena to lead things off. 3 outs remaining for the Drovers, the number 1 seed in the tournament, to stave off elimination. First pitch, fastball high from Nathan Torres.
It's interesting. I don't know what changed, but Pena's had some shin guards, some ankle braces and everything prior to this, and he dropped him now. He must be needing that extra speed he might get going down to first base.
Can you see who that's warming up down in the bullpen there? 2-0 the count on Joey Pena leading off the Drover half of the 9th. His team trailing by 2.
It looks to be number 6, Connor Jonas for SMU.
All right, thank you.
MNU.
MNU?
I don't know where I got any of those letters from.
We saw him in action in the earlier game today. That one. Appeal to first, no swing. So a 3-0 count, exactly what you don't want to do to the leadoff batter, up by 2 runs. Nathan Torres, his second inning of relief. Gave up 1 run in the last inning and avoided trouble with the bases loaded strikeout. Squares the bunt just to distract the pitcher. It doesn't work as Torres puts it right down the heart of the plate. Pena, the 3-hole hitter, I'm sure will have the green light here on 3-1. He has 2 hits and an RBI on the day. Big swing, but comes up empty. That was a home run swing there by Pena. Didn't quite get it. Full count as Torres has battled back from a 3-0 deficit. And again, a late called strike 3, the pitch right near the knees. And Pena has been ejected by the home plate umpire for contesting that call. And again, why? It's a tight pitch. It could go either way. Again, the call is kind of late. Let's look at it. We won't see much here from this high angle. But bang, bang, and the called strike 3. One of those pitches right on or at the knees. You got to be swinging to protect the plate in that situation. And Pena is gone with the first out of the inning. Second strikeout for Nathan Torres. The next batter, the designated hitter, Jake Womack. Womack is 0 for 4, but it'd be a big time for him to get a hit to keep this one going, as Pena will have to leave the field of play after being thrown out on the last play. Do you have that on that closer camera angle? All right, we'll get to that in just a second here after this pitch to Jake Womack. Tony Womack, wasn't he a Pittsburgh Pirate too? All right, there we go. So there's another Womack to go along with Leanne and Jake.
I actually know those Womacks.
All right, very good. Breaking ball a little bit low, ball one. Here's that pitch again, the called strike 3 on Pena. That's a pitch that's too close to take. It's a called strike 3. You can't let the umpire make the decision on the pitch that close. Fouled back by Womack, 1-1 the count. But again, that extra split second of a delay before the count is made. Get that hand up, get that word out. Don't make it things like you're confused on what to call. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A little flare that will go over the top of the roof above our press box. Now 1-2. Torres working ahead.
That went far enough back. I think it might have landed in somebody's nachos back in the concession booth.
Watch out there. You know, you can't see him coming back there. Nathan Torres, again, looks in for the signal from Joshua Sandoval. He has a 1-2 advantage on Womack. Popped up in the air, settling underneath it. The second baseman looking it into the glove for the second out of the inning. Kyle Franklin on that play. And now the Drovers are down to their final out. The number 1 seed on the edge of being eliminated unless they can find a way to put up at least 2 runs on the board. Here's the batter, Luke Lewis. He came on to pinch hit for Bailey Holbrook back in the 8th inning. He's up again here in the 9th. He's the last chance for University of Science and Arts. Line drive to center field, but out there is Dwante Freeman right at him. He'll make the catch. The ball hit hard, but an atom ball. A 3 up, 3 down, top of the 9th inning for the Science and Arts of Oklahoma Drovers. And the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers come away with this exciting victory by a final score of 6-4. With the victory, Mid-American Nazarene goes to 41-15 on the season. The number 2 seed stays alive to play once again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. They will take on Concordia University to determine the right to take on Bellevue University in the 2:30 championship game. For the University of Science and Arts Oklahoma Drovers, they wind up with a 34-12 record overall. The number 1 seed is eliminated. The number 5 seed, St. Xavier University, eliminated earlier today. So 3 teams remain, and a happy group of Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers celebrating out on the infield. They survived to play another day. So a controversial and exciting end to the game. That bottom of the 8th inning, part of the final story, the final game line of the day. So once again, let's set the stage for tomorrow, for Wednesday, 11 o'clock, the first game on day number 3. It'll be Mid-American Nazarene against Concordia University from Seward, Nebraska. That game starts at 11 o'clock. And then Bellevue University awaits to play the winner. If Bellevue loses that 2:30 game, there will be another game Thursday at noon to determine this bracket champion. Thanks once again to Chad Jenkins for his great work behind the scenes, doing the cameras and producing the board. Thanks to Josh Sluter for his initial run here at the color guy for today's broadcast. Thanks. Josh, your final comments on today's game.
You know, I mean, as you said, it was a tough end, very tough end for the University of Science and Arts, but at the same time, it was a well-fought game all the way through. They had some strong pitching, some strong hitting on both sides. Just, the team that was able to make those hits count came away with the game, and that's just how it works. They made Science and Art out-hit Mid-American, but they were unable to get those guys into score.
Our final line score for the evening for the Pioneers, 6 runs on 8 hits. They committed no errors. For Science and Arts of Oklahoma, 4 runs on 12 hits. They committed 2 errors. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight on the Bellevue Bruin Sports Network. And Pioneer fans, we hope you are back tomorrow for another day of action here in the Bellevue bracket. Until then, Mick Krupski signing off for Josh Sluter, for Chad Jenkins, and everybody up here in the press box. Thanks for tuning in on the Bellevue Bruin Sports Network. Good night.